What is up, everybody? This is Ed. We're back with another video, another episode of Everybody Hates Black Men. I'm your host once again, Edward Anderson, and today I have I won't say a special treat. It's always good when I do these play-by-plays, and I got one of Allende. If you all don't know, Allende is one of the former members of the Fresh and Fit team. He is the guy with the dreads, the guy street dude looking. So y'all know who I'm talking about. And he had, he's the one that basically broke in. Well, he didn't break in because he opened the door and it was open. So legally he didn't break in. So let me retract that. But he was the one that was in their shit. So we are, let me move this down. So we are going to do that. So this is from a channel called Duke and Don. I'm not familiar with them. I always like finding new YouTube channels, especially one that's outside of our space, outside of our like clubhouse bullshit, and see what's going on. It's kind of like we're like a whole city state, and you go beyond the veil to see what other dudes are doing, kind of having this similar talk, some of this variety show talk. And then obviously, as you can see, this is Miss Quinn. This is the chick, the white bitch, as I would say it. And I don't mean that in a negative way. I'm from Chicago, sue me. And so, but I'm not going to disparage her and address the other dude. So basically, this is the woman that was going at Myron, and Myron tried to holler at. So this is going to be an interesting one. This is 30 minutes. Full disclosure, I have seen at least half of this, which is not normally the case. But that's a good thing for you all because I'll probably be doing less clicks. And that's another thing, too. A lot of people say that I click on it too much and don't play it enough. I do that when I haven't seen it because it's always interesting. It's good for you all to see how my mind works. And then when you see that they say something after the fact, this lets you know that I have good perception when it comes to these things. Also, shout out to the lead attorney. He's been on the Lapeef Network their last couple of shows, and I think he is a good get. He has a good perspective. I haven't watched their show in a while, but they're kind of like in the same veil. So what I was going to originally title this is Purple Pill, but fuck the pills, for a second. There's some things. Look, and let me say this first, full disclosure. I like Allende. I think he has something to contribute. I think he will contribute, he kind of followed, like a lot of this stuff has been said. There's nothing he's saying that has not been said, but given his background, it's the more the merrier. I'm not one of these guys that say you got to be on Red Pill Dogma, otherwise you don't need to be on YouTube. Y'all need to stop with that. She's a bitch, respectively. I mean, she ain't been a bitch to me. Myron's an asshole. So, although I can take the Myron out of it, Myron brings the bitch out of people. I know because I've done it. I'm not like him though. But people accuse me of doing that too. But no, I've called out. Like, we'll get into that. Make sure y'all get them super chats going, them cash apps going, definitely trying to step up the content, do more content. I've been doing a lot more videos of what I normally do. I've looked at my stats. Like I've been definitely pumping them out. I am going to be doing more uploads, not for a variety of reasons, because I ain't got time to be on this bitch, 4 or 5 hours all the time. I be doing it and time be flying, but I do have other things to do. So I need to make sure, and I know y'all have other things to do too. So I need to start making sure I condense this information a lot more focused, a lot more tight. And uploads are definitely going to be a way of doing that. Now, I'm always going to be doing stuff kind of like this, but when I go like extra hardcore, a lot of that stuff is going to get pushed to the Patreon when I really get that fully activated. So I actually kind of got an idea as to why I want to do it. Yeah, Allende and Mike Rashid would definitely have a good conversation because Allende, good conversation. But I do like how Allende comes at it a lot more than Mike Rashid does. I will say that. Because what I will say about Allende is although Allende can kind of have some Mike Rashid tendencies, he tends to not be. Mike Rashid has this thing about wanting to say at the end of the day, you're a fucking loser and that's how women act. Here's my problem with that. That might very well be true. with certain people. But the thing about it is, it's not an either or. Women do not have the right to be here. Let me say it this way. Let's say, and we all, any black man that deals with black women when it comes to, or women in general, but let's talk about black women when it comes to the workplace. Here's the issue. The issue is that in black society, it's seen that it is acceptable for women to treat men that they're not sexually attracted to like they're beneath them. Men are not allowed to do that. Men have to respect a woman as a person, even if they're absolutely not sexually attracted to them. So take a woman you're repulsed by, the Lizzo types. And it ain't just big women. You know what I'm talking about. Black woman. You can't say, well, because I'm not sexually attracted to you, that justifies my behavior. As if all women, or if a man is a man, then she's going to be attracted to him. That's not how that works. So and men accept this too. So it's acceptable to treat men you're not sexually attracted to as they are less than. Nobody is saying that you're supposed to be submissive, or, because keep in mind, cooperation is it's a basic social trait. Nobody's saying that somebody's got to be submissive, but at the end of the day, just like how men have to respect men because there's a low-level threat of violence, women have to respect women, just like how women have to respect each other because there's a threat of violence. And what you see is women don't believe that they have to do that. And that's a problem. Shout out to Trell Bentley for the $5. Shout out for Black Male Content. Absolutely. And we do need to start honoring people that support Black male content. Like maybe one day I'll talk to O'Shea about that. I'm saying one day because I ain't making no promises. But that needs to be, we need to have like some kind of I don't know. Even if folks don't want their usernames and stuff put out or something, we need to have something where we acknowledge folks like that. Absolutely. Because having more people, and I'm going to say why, because you have more people, higher quality people. When I say higher quality, I don't mean better, but it's great to have people that are willing to put themselves out front, like a lead attorney or Dennis Sperling. Not saying they need the money, but because they don't, or the PhDs, right? As well as even guys like IND. This market is here because of you guys really supporting. And let me be very clear here. Money matters, but shares are just as important. Shares matter. You exposing what we say. Now, it's also our responsibility to present the content in such a way that you can expose it to other people without, getting the blowback from it. And that's where our responsibility comes in. But yeah, shout out to Dardar. Shout out to you and Smurgo for that Facebook expose. By the way, great content. Absolutely. And shout out to Smurgo, because I'm gonna tell you something. What Smurgo found is a well that I can keep coming back to. I can keep coming. That's some shit that I know if I wanted to create a post, black people are going to respond a certain way with that. And it wasn't all black people in there, but black people are going to respond a certain way to some shit like that. It doesn't matter the picture. It doesn't matter the dude. They're going to respond a certain type of way with that. So trust me, there's more to come. And actually that post as of today, that post was, last time I checked, was at like 12,000 shares. So that post is setting Facebook on fire. At least a certain sector. Yeah, it's at 6.1K, so 6,000 comments and 12,000 shares. So that's some shit I can continuously revisit. Shout out to K for the KD for the $10 super sticker. Much appreciated. Women shoot each other. Well, the thing about women is women don't really have women. It's not taboo for women to fight. So women could be jumping a female, and it's not gonna be seen as one dude slapping the chick. Like, I'm 5'5", I can slap the shit out of a female that's like 6 foot, and it's still gonna be seen. And I'm not saying it shouldn't be. It'll still be seen a lot worse than maybe 5 women beating the living shit out of a female as far as emotional reaction. So anyway, that's and like I said, shout out to the Discord, doing good things in there. Definitely gonna get that popping. So it's more to come. I've actually been going in by I bought a subscription. Well, I already have it. But I renewed it. So y'all will be getting some music, background music from a lot of my videos. So it's gonna be some good stuff to come. Most black bitches view their kids as a paycheck. Of course, they aren't trying to give up custody if they're going to lose that money. And that's one thing. But that kind of emotional reaction was not just from that. So anyway, with that being said, this is at 1.5 playback speed. I will slow it down as it gets to important parts. And let me make sure. And I'm about to play it, so let's go. Oh yeah. Like I said before, I don't have an issue. I think he's cool when it comes to this space. When I say this space, I'm talking about YouTube in general. Not trying to annex him in the black manosphere, because motherfuckers really be out here. It's in my community tab. Norris Black. Go to my community tab. It's like 3 or 4 things there. It's a link to that Facebook post. Folks always think we trying to annex people in our space. Understand something. Our space, we don't need people in our space. That's not what we're not desperate to ask for people in our space. Let's be absolutely clear about that. And that's for anybody who wants to say it. Like, you got people like LaPeep Network and shit like that. They try to act like, motherfuckers try to act like we need them. That's not what it is. They're here because of the shit we laid down. And that's real talk. Because that's real fucking talk. But in any case, let's go ahead and get this started.
Yeah, there's a lot of elements of this explanation that are true, but you're telling this shit out of order.
Yeah.
And then you're like interjecting.
And this is kind of like, this is how he uploaded it. This is on his channel, Authentic Alphas, and go with it.
This competition thing to make it seem like you're some type of stand.
Make subscribe to his channel too, because I think even if you don't agree with what he says, I think the way he presents stuff, it makes it a good back and forth, which is what he said he's looking to do, and is important. I think he serves as kind of a guy that people can see that, okay, this dude has not been in this kind of sector like that. So it's not like he's going against dogma. And you can't say he doesn't get bitches. You can't say you can look at him and say, okay, he looks the part, is the part, so he has a certain credibility that we can piggyback off of as far as what he brings and because I'm gonna use him as a way of it. Because some of the stuff he talks about, as you're gonna see, is stuff that we've already visited. So it's a way of kind of renewing those things so we can show this is why we folks think the way they think.
End up dude, and you're on your masculinity, because that's one of the best qualities of masculinity is being competitive. But they're also
I agree with that.
Gentlemanly way to be competitive.
What he's doing right now is talk about Myron.
Right.
Respectful way to be competitive. And I'm like, you threw that word in there, bitch. That was nowhere in the situation. Because at the time frame that you were saying those things about Kevin Sanders, I know what you said after I was gone. I know what you said when I was there, because my ears worked well. And when I was there and those things were being said, you were in no way, shape, or form in competition with Kevin Samuels. If anything,
he's talking about Kevin.
You guys were desperately avoiding competition. So I'm like, where the fuck did that word come from? And when I was there and those things were being said, you were in no way, shape, or form in competition with Kevin Samuels. If anything, you guys were desperately avoiding competition. So I'm like, where the fuck did that word come from? Like, that's a buyout right there. You can copy that one. Okay. So I'll tell you exactly what was the nature of that that shit talking.
Okay.
What it was is that the time slot that Fresh and Fit was trying to go up was the same time slot where Kevin Samuels was going. And Kevin was making the call and saying, listen, it's a conflict of interest. We're bumping heads because some of our viewers are crossing over. No wonder, because Kevin Samuels has done a lot for the show. So no wonder some of the subs follow both of you. And he was just simply saying, you guys gotta move it up. Right? Now, Myron's response to that was, mind you, after going in the room, closing the door, and talking to Mr. Kevin Samuels very, very calm and cordially, comes out of said room every time angry, right? And expressing himself verbally, like, fuck this shit. Who the fuck does he think he is to tell us when to do our show? I'm getting sick of this shit. I can't wait till we fucking don't need him anymore. As soon as we get enough stuff, fuck him. We moving on or whatever. And
and I could believe Myron strikes me as a guy with that type of personality. And he's number one, he's never denied that. And I could definitely believe he would say some shit like that. And the thing about it is, a lot of this is, I don't even really need to bring up JoJo, but this is the shit JoJo didn't understand, because JoJo is the type of dude, because of his age, where he got to get fucked, like really fucked by somebody he didn't expect to get fucked by in order to understand that. From a content creator standpoint, when you understand how many people either let stuff slide with them, or and this is the type of shit, like that shit That shit he just said, I'm not gonna lie, and I'm not here to start no shit, but that's the type of shit where I'm going back and I'm starting to look at some content creators' funny style. And no, I'm not talking about O'Shea. I'm not, because O'Shea didn't look deep into them, but for some of the same reasons, because it was people that were vouching for them that folks trusted. And now I kind of know, okay, I can't trust it. When I see an obvious conflict of interest now, I can't ignore that. And that includes O'Shea, that includes anybody. You know, when I just can't ignore, I have to address that, because when you understand, like, I don't mean to bring it up, but if y'all understand how certain shit was happening and when they was coming up, yeah, I've talked about that behind the scenes, but my point is that is some of the most fucked up shit you can do. And then them being Ados doing that shit too. Because I promise you, if they would have been Ados, they would have got looked at just like that dude that trying to buy that Manosphere thing got looked at. They got a pass. And so for anybody that wants to sit there and act like we be overly targeting like non-ADOs, that's actually not true. Actually, we do the opposite. Actually, we focus on each other a lot more, and we tend to give folks that are not our culture a pass. And that needs to stop. That's really what we're kind of communicating with each other, and you all ear hustle that, and you all think that we're saying we need to target you. No, we're saying we need to start adding y'all in, because Myron and them couldn't have pulled that bullshit because if nothing else, Highlander syndrome would have kicked in and niggas would have got jealous just because they were ADOS. And so I just wanted to add that there. But that is some really fucked up, grimy shit. That's one of them to sit there and then say, as soon as I pass some motherfuckers, I'm going to fuck them over. And then on top of that, and now this is why I'm focusing on Myron. Then on top of that, to then be on some shit like you charge people like a motherfucker, even if they got great content to come on your shit when nobody was doing that to you. See, that's dirty. That's dirty shit. So when people say, "Oh, why y'all kicking them out? Or why y'all saying they shouldn't be in space?" That's why. That's bullshit. And what I noticed is motherfuckers that weren't content creators didn't really understand that. Anyway,
that's word around a lot. And that's one of the first things I noticed when I would be around him is there's two words he throws around a lot, and I don't like it. You know what I'm saying? He throws the faggot word around, and he throws nigga around a lot, and it's like,
I could believe that with that Arabic shit. I could believe that.
And it's crazy too, because like, what's the context? What's the connotation of it? Because he throws it out for the extreme negative and the extreme.
I think he says nigga is like a low level diss to ADOS blacks. I do believe that, and that's why I do believe that. And you're not gonna tell me no different. And if I notice everybody that defends Myron, they're not ADOS. They're like not ADOS blacks, so they don't really know what the fuck. They don't really know the situation. They're talking about shit they don't really know.
When he's upset with somebody, he's like, "Yo, this fucking nigga." But then when he's just like, "Come on, nigga," so it's like,
I don't know, like a man out of place. It almost sounds like, right?
Right, and he does the same thing with the F word. Like they be joking around and calling each other faggot. I'm like, "Oh, man, that shit ain't funny."
They kind of did that. There was a show where they were actually doing that live. Where he's like, "Oh, you like use the word as the F word and adds with agate."
I don't think it's funny. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely.
I mean, let's keep this all our. Even when the word was a lot easier to normalized to use the F-bomb, like that was some fighting shit. That was some shit. Like calling somebody a bitch ass nigga might not necessarily trigger a fight with a lot of dudes, but you call them, yeah, that's gonna trigger it. Yeah, especially if you do it in the right kind. You kind of got to do something at that point.
Point with that. But anyway,
right. So he would throw that around a lot. But the only time that he would throw the faggot word around where I thought there was some seriousness in it is when he was.
Okay, so Georgia Boy, as far as you talk about we create these monsters, let's be clear here. The Black Manosphere didn't watch Fresh and Fit like that. You know, because they were in the dating coach sector, and you already know the battles that folks have had over there. So when y'all keep saying y'all create these monsters, most of Fresh and Fit's audience is non-black and a lot of non-ADOS folks. So let's keep that 100. Also, Georgia Boy, you know, you went like I heard you go up there, and then you were talking about like you need to give the disadvantages of being a single dad. I mean, like, and even Bernard was kind of looking at you funny style, because that's what I keep saying is you always want to be contrarian, and sometimes that shit makes sense sometimes, but most of the time that shit sounds dumb as hell, yo. It really does. But I don't know why you talking shit about Allende, because Allende should be your type of dude. Allende really, if I could picture a channel you would watch, Allende would be that dude, which is actually what kind of had me want to do this.
So then it's like there's already like other people that are accusing him of that.
I thought of you when I thought of that, what I heard what he was saying.
saying that. So
That's right. Yeah.
So I'm a little lost with what I'm trying to say. I'm just like, why that choice of words? And then my whole thing is, where the fuck is the integrity with this dude? Because it's like you're saying fuck this dude. I can't wait till I don't need him. And my whole thing is, why do you need him now then? Why do you need him now then? Because if I need somebody, right? Whether I like desperately need them or I need them in the sense that it will just make what I'm trying to do easier and quicker. Either way you want to use the word.
If you all don't know, this is a clip.
Need, I feel like there needs to be some humble with that. Like if you need me to buy your meal or else you won't eat, you need to be humble, right? And if like you left your wallet at home and you don't want to wait to go home and get your wallet to come back and buy food, I mean, you're not gonna starve without me, but you still need to be kind of humble because you know what I'm saying? So I just feel like, which one is it? Do you need this dude or not? Because if you do, chill. Right, so what I would say to him is like, dude, just relax, just play along because right now everything's going good, everything's going well, and to get Kevin Samuels back in the studio with girls, you hadn't here before, but you didn't have him with girls, so that's what we're doing.
That's not true. That's not. Hold on, Nick. Oh, that's not true either. You said respectfully, the ADOS thing is not relevant. Black men are universally socially inept at dealing with black mixture races, Puerto Ricans, Arabs, mulattoes. So that's actually not. That is actually categorically false. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? That's not true. That's not true. That's not true at all. If that's not true at all. I mean, I'm not even gonna argue that. Niggas are not ready to take care of a newborn baby by themselves. Women aren't either. Women, like the thing, like Georgia Boy, this is what you're not understanding. You say that as if women today are ready. And see, this is why when he asked you that, you really didn't want to answer it. Are you? And this is the question I'm gonna ask you. Are you saying that black women, fuck the state, because they get a lot of help? Black women, just in general, are better at they are more prepared at being a parent than a black man. That is my question to you. That is my question to you. That's it. That's my question, because that's really what we're talking about. You get two parents. We're not talking about what a man is. You're arguing against it's like you're arguing against, like, come on, man. And that's how the courts think. The courts want to judge the dude, but I'm like, this bitch shouldn't be having a kid either. It's just a lot of the dudes don't want the kid. But what about the dudes that do want the kid? What about that? And that should be on the table, in my opinion. And it's not.
What we're pushing for. And me, you know what I'm saying? I'm invested in that happening because I want to meet Kevin Samuels, not so much to collaborate with him. I want to meet him. I want mentorship. So I'm like, I can't wait to get the opportunity to meet this dude.
If you notice, I'm not pausing because I agree with everything you're saying so far.
And my way to do that is by providing the absolute perfect female.
Women are better at dealing with babies. That has nothing to do with being a parent, though, Georgia Boy. Like, see, yes, women are more equipped at dealing with the emotional shit of dealing with a child. They're supposed to be, I'll say that. But the most important years in actually forming how a child is going to become as a male is actually that 1 to 7. That 1 to 7 is critical. Shout out to the Anti-Socialite podcast with the $5 super sticker. So again, you can look at how the black community is now. Niggas can't read all this shit, and then you really want to say they make better parents? Nigga, that's gynocentric, and that's what I keep saying. You have these tendencies, and that's why you have this irrational need to like critique us, because you do the same shit Gab does. In fact, half the time I be thinking you Gab.
Male lineup for him to interact with.
Like the value aspect for it.
Right.
Yeah.
So the point that I'm trying to make is, in a different way.
I'm gonna keep it real. I'm gonna say it, and y'all can feel a certain type of way if you want. If the dudes want it, shout out to Naris with the $10 cash app. Make sure y'all support the cash app. Honestly, if the dude wanted the kid, if you want to create a better society, in my opinion, the state should get behind the dude having the kid. I think when we talk about like kid, what we say with babies, these women are where they are now. They, quite frankly, even as babies, I think dudes will make it. But the problem is the dudes don't want that burden. But real talk, if you want a better society, if this is not going to be two-parent and the dude wants the kid, he should get it. That's my opinion. Unless you could show a reason why he shouldn't. Because at the end of the day, the state, the women are still pulling from the state. The women are pulling from the state. They're pulling from other families. These are not women from the past. They're not. Most of these females, they fucking these kids up, yo. They really, and you see it. But see, nobody wants to say who's actually raising the kids because then, but whatever.
I'm just as invested as Myron is in keeping so-called Kevin Samuels pleased.
And let me mention something to the guys, almost 2,000 of you guys watching right now. See, guys, one thing I understand, the way what he's talking about right now, I see it because he basically explained the way he how he came on.
Again, Georgia boy, it's not about what somebody can or cannot do, dude. We can look at the results of the society right now. This is why I'm glad they rolling back that damn abortion shit. Like, I'm not even gonna keep on arguing because, dude, you just arguing from I'm just want to be contrarian.
To working with Fresh and Fit in the first place, he didn't come up there, he had nothing, but he approached them in a way that was you humbled yourself and said, "Hey, I want to learn," because that's what you said in the video. Like, I just want, I just want the experience. I want to be able to shake hands with the right people, things like that. So it's very shocking to just hear the two different sides of things, and that's what people, man, when you're following these guys, I tell you don't know what's going on.
Shout out to Dar. I just gave a moderator tag too.
Back end, you don't understand. You're hearing it from the guy's mouth right now. He's legit worked with them in the back. So it's nuts that this is coming out. Anna, what do you think about this whole thing?
I was just about to say, get rid of that one.
What do you think?
I mean, a lot of the points he's making are points that we made. I don't even remember if we were actually live or not at that point. But
no, we weren't.
Shout out to Alpha Omega with the moderator tag. He don't always agree with me, but he's been around for a minute.
Everything that we've been saying, and even just, I mean, everything. Well, I don't know. Obviously, not saying the specifics of the situations that you're talking about because I wasn't there, but just the things that you're talking about as far as like the character and the integrity of these things, and this is something I was telling him earlier that we were talking about, and even just the recollection of events and dramatizing things and taking them out of the timeline. And the problem is you have someone with a platform where people think he's a leader.
Look, I'm not. Look, I want to say this, and I want to be very clear here. Some of the stuff she's saying right now, I understand and I agree with, but you can be right. It's kind of like putting Stalin up against Hitler. Stalin, in and of itself, is pretty much on the same par as far as how bad he is, actually. But it's like, but when you compare him against Hitler, it's like, okay, I can kind of work with Stalin if like the world is at stake, which it was, versus Hitler. You see what I'm saying? As long as he keep that shit in Russia, which is what he did until obviously after World War II when he stopped doing it. Then it became a problem with the USSR. But that's kind of the Anna Quinn and Myron thing. At the end of the day, Anna, you took a big chunk. You took out the fact that that basically you kind of kept antagonizing Myron. And then Myron let it go when you sit there and you did that story shit. Not to mention before Myron even did the bullshit he did. Before Myron actually did the, lack of quote unquote game bullshit, you didn't give a fuck who he was until a third party. Remember, when women hear shit from third parties, that's the most powerful part of validation. If you hear it from somebody that they don't know, it has no incentive to big them up, that's a validation. You didn't come back to Myron and Myron had 10,000 Instagram followers. You didn't even check to see if he had more other places. You didn't come back to Myron until you saw he was on Fresh and Fit and what they had. So at the end of the day, you don't get to kind of act like you're all this integrity, all this bullshit. That's bullshit. So if you don't hear that in context to know like what she was doing, because you omitted a lot of that. And you actually gave a lot of them cause to push back against that, because I'm the type of person that if I know I'm right, I'm gonna let you see the good, the bad, and the ugly. I'm not gonna omit my part, because then somebody can come back and say, "Well, if you think you so right, why did you omit it?" And this is what y'all did. This is what you did. Now they haven't. Allende has not really done that. Allende hasn't done that, but I just want to add that in there.
But he's an influencer instead, and so everybody he says
all of y'all are all the folks are influencers and not leaders. What are you talking about?
Something, and they're ready to go to bat and ready to go to war for this because his interpretation of the actual events, it's getting messed up in his mind somewhere, intentionally or not. It's getting skewed.
No, it's intentionally getting. He's doing that on purpose.
Let me say this. Like, for example, somebody like me, he's gonna have a problem with because he can't control me. He can't control me. He can't control what I'm gonna say and what I'm gonna do. He doesn't like somebody that's gonna call him on his shit.
He don't know how to collaborate, not like he should, not long term. He can collaborate and even on missions. Based on what I've heard, what I've seen. But like other than Fresh, Fresh he can kind of control. So that goes into what he was saying.
And be confident about it, right? And somebody like Anna, he's gonna have a problem with her because she's contrary to the narrative that he's trying to sell. This is
the first like I should have that the Metal Gear Solid this is the first one. It's first time let's see. Hold on, now it's time to slow this motherfucker down. Bring it down to 1.25. We'll bring it down to normal so y'all can hear it.
So
Yeah.
she's like, for example, he's trying to act like she couldn't be valuable other than the fact that she's just like, okay, she's attractive. It's like, yeah, no, hold on.
There's too many attractive women in Miami.
No,
Guy.
but like, okay, let me give an example of what I'm trying to say.
But number one, that's a true statement. I mean, that's a true statement. It's just how he used it was whack. He used it as like that's gonna actually move her. That's not gonna mean shit to somebody. She don't know you enough. She's not invested. She was that's the thing where he fucked up. She was kind of invested because once she knew what he had, but the problem is, and this is a guy, and see the thing that kills me, I'm like, nigga, you 6'4". I hate to call him a nigga. You 6'4". So dude, you know your presence is gonna be on your side. That's the thing that kills me. And now that I know that, it's kind of like, damn, these bitches are wilding out on you too much. But that's that alcohol. So anyway.
Yeah.
Let's just say that your name wasn't Anna. Let's say your name was Adam and you were a dude. What you've accomplished at your age would be celebrated. You get what I'm saying? That dude would be a successful dude. He'd be a high value dude. You know?
That's actually not true. That's actually not true. Being a social media, being an influencer on, like, everybody don't respect people being an influencer on YouTube or being an influencer in social media as a dude. That's not automatic respect. Look at somebody like DJ Academics. Like at the end of the day, like dudes that would either be like Allende or they would see themselves in Allende, or that's what they would want to be, ain't necessarily gonna respect some motherfucker just because of what they on in social media. And that's all Anna Quinn is. And to be truthful, Anna Quinn, at the end of the day, if Anna Quinn was an attractive female, she wouldn't even have her social media following. I don't give a fuck about what she said. Now, I don't know what she's done outside of this, but what I see her pushing is fitness. And we know she's about to be a single mom. So it ain't like she's a lawyer or something like that, because I can show you women that ain't got social media followings, but they're accomplished in their careers, that when they talk, they get respect based on that. Now, we know there's some niggas that would fall into what Allende is saying, but those are not dudes that you typically hear able to move like the trajectory of what we're trying to do. But Fresh and Fit is their own thing.
Okay, so how all of a sudden is this person not this because it's a different gender? Myron doesn't like that because her existence proves him fucking wrong is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying? Just like his own existence.
So, because I'm assuming, Anna, you would have probably held your own in some of these questionings, and
exactly.
And the thing with the statistics, I noticed that a lot of these guys in these red pill spaces, they kind of use that as their weapon to beat people over with, and it's like, you have that, and this is where I actually vibed with what you said, Allende, because I said this like way before when I first criticized Rollo Tomasi, right? And I was like, okay, your book has a lot of theoretical information, and it makes sense for guys to kind of use it as a guide, but that's it. It shouldn't be reality. And when you mentioned it's not absolute, and when you mentioned, hey, you know, you were married, you obviously had experience with women, I felt that because I'm like, I would never say, or even if like the way the show was structured, how they kick people out, I still wouldn't like just the harshness and the anger. I just can't find it in me, because it's like,
so hold on,
it just doesn't make any sense. So when you said, hey, these guys don't have the experience, because clearly it shows in the way that they deal with the women.
Okay, so this is where you have to separate Fresh and Fit. They are talking about them. And I'm going to keep it real. Fresh and Fit is really not a good example of what Red Pill really is. They really aren't. What Fresh and Fit is they are really a remix of the 2001 to 2007, you know, the golden dating era, with the exception of now that these chicks have wild, like kind of learn the shit, they understand that there's dudes that'll come with that shit. And so they've kind of gotten they've gotten immune to it, because the reason why is because the stuff wasn't really properly taught, in my opinion. It was too scripted. They're kind of like people that kind of picked that shit up and then remixed it and brought it to today's world. And it works because you're dealing with, when you look at who your audience is, you're dealing with an audience of guys And remember, a lot of these guys are entitled. Like I said, it's non-black. They're entitled. The mixture of audience that they have, and even the black guys, a lot of them, they're like international guys. So because they don't come. Remember, they don't come from really matriarchies or gynocracies like we do. They come from us. There's a certain. So even in the black guys, there's a certain extent of entitlement, and they feed into that, which is the women are bad, not. It's really anything I need to do. Now, they'll sit there and say that, and so they're really not talking about the environment. They're more talking about the women, which is making it very like back and forth. I talk about the environment and how humans are going to take advantage of what they take advantage of. And I also, so anyway, but what I don't like about this is when he starts to talk about the red pill spaces. Where, look, I get it. It's words. And he says, well, we use stats. The problem with us using stats that folks have, the reason it's seen as us beating you down with it is because you all don't have the information. So you all try to take anecdotal experience, which, by the way, we all have. Because the thing that kills me is, you know, all I need, a nigga, like, you take a dude like Allende, and they can say, well, nigga, you 5'5", what you know, blah, blah. I say, okay, well, shit, fuck it. Mr. Fantastic. 6'5", he's been married. Let's go. Like, I can produce people that if people wanted to sit there and say somebody's short or somebody's this and somebody's that, we have people in the place. I can say, okay, it's time to run these plays. Run this play, willing to show them, so let's run this play. Or I could run this play with Charles Faulkner. We got people that can run plays. This is another reason why, as I grow, I'm definitely certain people that I know have a lot of experience and have a lot of valuable knowledge. I'm pulling up with me because I'll know, because I'm pulling up because I know where my skill sets are. But at the same time, if people want to make an argument, I'll be like, okay, well, I got people that I can sub in. You know, now make the same argument, because I understand that people like to make these arguments. So that's one thing. But on the stats thing is, the problem is, so that's the anecdotal experience that people like use. I can sub in other people with experiences, you know, but I have my own experience, obviously. But with the stats thing, they try to use that to counteract the stats because they haven't done the research. And not only have they not done the research, they haven't had these battles. See, it's not so much the statistics, it's the fact that we've had conversations with black men all over the country. Like, we've had these battles. This is not some bullshit that we're just taking stats like on some autistic shit saying, well, because the stats say this. We all have a collective mastermind of experiences. Northeast, Midwest. I mean, even if you look at the content creators, the Midwest class, you can look state by state, you can look city by city. The Florida, any way you want to slice it. And we've had these conversations. So it's not so much that we are literally seeing these things. These conversations have been had since 2013 and even before that. And we have literally seen the stuff we say happen a lot faster than we even thought it was. We made predictions. We've been right. So you all are just coming into this shit from a COVID standpoint. And yeah, people have their experiences. Like I said, I think he has valuable experience when you hear what he's trying to say. But at the same time, you know, I heard Information Man when he came up to Pascal said, why can't a man just be a man? Like, these conversations have been had, and not just had like once or twice. We're talking about like months of having them. We've had it. We've fought over it. We've had battles over it. So it's not, you know, even with Angry Man and the Angry Man standard, the Great Faulkner Initiative, which is kind of like in that same circle, BGS and stuff. We got dudes that are married, were married, got nothing but daughters. You know, we got all of this is covered. You know, we got dudes, you know, all of this is covered. So when we talk, it's a lot of weight that people don't see. And so they want to reset everything and say, okay, let's start from the beginning. That favors the women, because the women want the reset, because they want everything. It's kind of like, let's see if y'all do some money out. It's kind of like fucking, resetting the damn, student loans. They want that to happen because it's a reset. And so dudes have to guard against that, because they want to. This is not the first. This is maybe when this shit's popping now, but this shit's been going on for 10 years. And you can't just try to restart how you think of it, saying, well, I'm going to approach it a different way, because you're going to find this out one way or the other. Now, Allende is with a woman. So he's not, I mean, you know, so at the end of the day, he's not necessarily exposed to these things other than the person he's dealing with. So it is what it is. And again, they're talking about Fresh and Fit, but so I'm really talking more about Duke and Don right now with his stats. It's like, dude, if our stats are incorrect, counteract the stats. They can't do that because they're not really looking into it. So they get blindsided. So they don't want to look stupid. So they say, well, in my personal experience, your personal experience doesn't matter if we're talking about the group. We're talking about women as a group. I can find exceptions to every rule. Go ahead.
I'm with that. What do you?
And think of what he's saying. Vibe. That's emotional. I don't give a fuck about vibing to something. Is it right? Yeah, I vibe to certain things too. That doesn't mean it's right. It's like a nigga saying, I vibe to the fact that, short, niggas that are 6'5", they fucking die. Or like, what are you talking about? But it doesn't matter. Like, I hate even the vibe. That's another word of feel. He ain't slick.
Go ahead if you had anything to add to that.
Well, I just feel like he is such a control freak that he wants to control the end of the movie. And it's like, if you're bringing women on, or if I'm bringing women on, the goal is to learn something, right? It's to investigate, question, have healthy dialogue, learn something about them, they learn something about us. How can that take place when you want to already dictate the end of the movie? So anytime somebody says something that he thinks is off script, it's like you jumping down their throat.
Nigga, they do want debt forgiveness. I mean, they just fucking Courtney Michelle and A to Z just did a video talking about will black men ever forgive black women. Nigga, black men ain't really punished black women yet. Black men ain't really done shit. What they're trying to stop is this shit from popping off. That's what they're trying to do. But the problem is the environment. And then the awareness. Yeah, but they're trying to frame it like they want debt forgiveness. Yes, they want to reset. They did what they did, now they want to reset. It's just like these white people that they do they dirt, and now they want you to see you as respectable. George H.W. Bush, or Bush's dad. That's the game. Same thing with the Kennedys. That's what they're doing.
It's like, hold on. Let her be a fucking unicorn. If she's a unicorn, let her be a unicorn.
And that's the thing you want the guys to see, right?
That's my point.
That's another thing I disagree. Now, he's talking about the fact that he wanted different women to have a variety. That I'm not so much against. And I don't have a problem with women being a unicorn, but understand that's exactly what they are. That's another thing. And this is when you bring black people into it. We tend to, and again, this is where you got to separate what he's saying about their show from the greater thing. Because remember, this is in context of their show. And Allende is kind of giving what he kind of wants to do, and this is relevant to his channel. But and you kind of see him executing this a little bit with the women he's talking to. But the thing about it is, too many people will sell the perception of unicorns. They will try to make a unicorn. I'm not saying Allende is doing this, but they will try to make the exceptional the rule. That is not the rule. We're talking about the rule. Just like how being a high value man, or fuck the high value man shit, an in demand man, which is a select, is not the rule. It's not the rule. You know? Anything exceptional, whether it's looks, economics, whatever, is not the rule. And anybody that wants to, because this is where this subjectivity bullshit comes in. Black people will feel like they can identify with the exception. So for black people, the exception is the rule, which is why I did this that video a long time ago. 1 + 1 is 2, unless you ask black people. They'll ask you, how do I feel about it? That's why I said that. So you got to be careful with that shit, because that could be seen as just as problematic from a propaganda standpoint as Fresh and Fit.
So it's like, I'm more interested in bringing on the exception to the rule. He wants to bring on the consistent, to keep on hammering the same point. So what I'm saying is,
so what's the point of bringing the exception to the rule? Here's the thing. I get why he was going back and forth with what Myron was doing, but the truth is, what you're saying is not cool either, because if you bring nothing but exceptions to the rule, then by definition you are selling the idea that the exception is the rule, unless you make it clear it is not the rule. And this is how I know that's what he's doing, because you'll go watch, you'll hear it.
That I'm sorry, because this is a very good point, because this is a lot. This is a big criticism about the show is the amount of women, right? And when you were talking about you're the one who brings the women in now, compared to when you were working there, right? And the quality of women and the kind of conversations you had, what did you notice the difference in when you were there and the kind of people you recruited versus whoever is running the operation now, and how does that affect the quality of the show?
Well, when I was there, everything that I tried to do was like stifled. It's like I was trying to pull off magic every time, and just someone was trying to break my fucking wand. So if I'm saying, hey, let's do an episode on single mothers. But here's the thing, though. My goal with bringing on single mothers is I'm trying to break through all the motherfucking, preconceived notions. So what you're trying to say is single moms bad, don't date single moms because they have all these negative traits and all blah, blah, blah. Okay, great. I'm trying to bring something that's the exception to that. I'm trying to bring single moms that are gorgeous, look great for their age, look amazing for having already had children, understand, or at least are willing to have the discussion as to what types of authority said.
Couple of things there. Number one, I would ask, what's the purpose of doing that? What's the purpose of bringing in? Because by definition, it ain't like we out here. We're not crafting a fucking single motherhood narrative that's not true. Like, people kill me. Like, we've had women in these spaces, and when I say women, I'm talking about big content creators. They always go through cycles saying this is what they are. They know why they deal with D-boys. They know why they do it. So if you say, what is the purpose of bringing, like, ain't nobody saying that there's no such thing as a bad bitch that happens to have a kid. Nobody has said that. Nobody has said that. Nobody is out here saying that. You also have to understand you're dealing with a lot of white men that are really not playing that game like that anyway. So again, this is where you're not even understanding the audience. Now, Myron may not feel like to explain that to you because he may think you're beneath him, which makes him an asshole, because I would explain this. When you look at their audience, a lot of the non-blacks, a lot of the like ADOS blacks, they're not really interested in doing that. And they're not going to do that for no sister. Because now, Allende, to be fair, I ain't seen him bringing sister up yet. I don't know who his girl is. Maybe she ain't black. So maybe Allende is SYSBM. That could be true. But and that's another element that a lot of these guys won't tell you either. Most of the black men in the black manosphere, minus the SYSBM dudes, are dating black women. A lot of these guys that act like they protecting women, they not dating black women. I bet you Duke don't date black women. I don't know him. Maybe that's completely off, and I don't know. So I could put egg on my face. But a lot of these motherfuckers, usually if you date black women, you ain't having a white woman on your fucking show like that, generally. So again, then it'd be, okay, well, y'all want to make these exceptions for non-black women, but what about black women? See, that's always going to come into play. And see, that's another thing that does not get said about a lot of these dudes that want to play the purple pill game. Another thing is, you want to talk about these gorgeous single mothers. Like, nigga, what the fuck are you talking about? I'm always going to come back. What is the percentage that is that? And then also the thing about it is we want to foster these discussions. Okay, there may be something to be said. Look, I've said I want more people to talk, because the thing is, these women can't help but be who they are. So eventually, even if they're not completely coming with the bullshit, whether you see it with a fresh and fit or whatever, the bullshit is going to come out. Because at this point, the women can't help but pretend. They can't pretend anymore.
Father should have. If you're expecting him to come in and take on this type of responsibility, are you willing to let him lead you as well as the children? Are you willing to let him discipline the children? Let me tell you why.
Ty City. Well, you know what, Ty City, you got another dude to do your nigga watch on. So you got some more content.
You would need to do that if you have this expectation. And have a fucking useful conversation. Have a healthy conversation. When I was growing up,
the problem is, hold on, y'all gonna love this shit. Ty City, this one's for you, Ty City.
You would need to do that if you have this expectation. And have a
hold on. Let me slow this bitch down. I want you to hear this shit.
Fucking useful conversation. Have a healthy conversation. When I was growing up, stepfathers were like the shit. If you were a stepfather, you automatically commanded respect from the community because you stepping up. Stepfathers were like the shit. Growing up, stepfathers were like the shit. And have a fucking healthy conversation. When I was growing up, stepfathers were like the shit. Healthy conversation. When I was growing up, stepfathers were like the shit. If you were a stepfather, you automatically commanded respect from the community because you stepping up. So what I'm saying is, why are we telling men to avoid this when the biggest problem we have as a species is lack of fatherhood? So if you are willing to come and fill that gap.
This is when I decided the video needed to be made. This is what I said. Wait till I get the fuck home. Nigga, I almost made a U-turn. But I had some shit I had to do. I thought about it too with the light. You almost got this video like 4 hours ago. And then when Duke just clapped to the shit, I'm like, well, shit, Anna ain't even said nothing yet. This is where that cam up bullshit is bullshit. Cause this is what niggas do. This is what niggas do when they cam up. And then you say something different. Oh, nigga, cam up. See what you look like. Let's go.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That should be encouraged. But hold on, because everybody's going to say, no, because this can happen, that can happen.
Yep. Let's go.
Yeah, these fanboys, yep.
And all that. Okay, so time out. That means the man being willing to step up is only half of the equation. The other half of the equation is the woman understanding that he needs to come in with the same level of authority as if he was the father of those children in a time in a society where even the biological father is not given the proper authority and proper power in the house. So
all right. So, and if you notice, I'm not really going in like that's not what the intention of this is. I mean, the shit speaks for itself. Now we're kind of in uncharted territory as far as I haven't seen the rest of this part. What couple of things that I noticed. Number one, you see how Don reacts to that. And then the fanboy thing, that's to do with Fresh and Fit. But understand, Fresh and Fit is really not a true interpretation of what Red Pill is. It really isn't. And their fans are not true interpretation of what Red Pill. It isn't. And that's not me just saying that. They don't. You can see by how they act. They have a lack of it. Because I'm gonna tell you something. One thing that people don't understand about quote unquote red pill rage, and I'm gonna start calling it blue pill rage, because if you stay in red pill rage too long, that's really because you haven't accepted the reality of what shit is, which means you're rejecting the truth. And being red pill requires you to understand the truth, be aware of it, and to come to some acceptance, because you can't accept stuff if you don't acknowledge it. So if you're sitting there fighting against it all the time, then that means you're not accepting it. So you can't really move on from something you don't accept. This is why in most 12-step programs, you have to accept that you're accountable. So you have to accept accountable. You got to accept the reality of the situation is. This is why you got a lot of people talk about black pill and shit that are really blue pill, because they see black pill as really the next level of anger. And then they have this kind of thing where they try to do, well, I'm black pill because it's all going to be over anyway. Nah, you're still mad. That anger just manifesting in you being a dick about it now. So now you have this thing where it's kind of like white people, like, well, fuck America. If because all this shit we've done is white men. It's kind of like that. It's kind of like that where they just start being assholes because they can't accept the shit ain't just going to be handed no more. That's really what it is. Hold on one second. I'm speaking for their fans. I'm not speaking for Fresh and Fit right now. I'm speaking for the motherfuckers that follow them. And as far as he's entirely red pill, Theo, I don't know if I agree with that, because Fresh does a lot of capping. Fresh caps too much. I got Fresh caps a lot. You said Fresh ain't capping. Fresh, please. Fresh ain't no rising music star. Fresh ain't fucked 1,000 bitches. You know, like let's call that what it is. You know, so yeah, Fresh caps a lot. Y'all could try to. I'm not saying he capping on everything, but that nigga gotta. If you look at his cap ratio is pretty high. Now you could say that, but I'll bring you one, Theo. But hold on, I'm not done with this video. Well, you know, how long have you watched the video? Well, shit. You know what? Yeah, I will bring you one. I'll bring you one now. But this ain't about Fresh. This ain't about them. I'll bring you on. This is only for Theo. I told you, Theo, you should be what you call it, a PR person. And I ain't no dig either. Them niggas always talk about the receipts they got. Man, trust me, if they had those kind of receipts, everybody wouldn't be making a video talking. Like, you got different people making cap videos. Like it ain't everybody, and a lot of these people do be looking into shit. Everybody ain't just making that shit up. Like, you got white dudes, Spencer Cornelia. Everybody ain't like 100% lying. That's not how that works. I mean that. But like I said before, this ain't about Fresh. This is about their audience. So even if I say, okay, Fresh don't cap, fine. Even if I say that, that's not what I was originally talking about. Who makes good content? I didn't say, look, their content, they make entertaining content. Let me say that. But from an information standpoint, no. From an information value standpoint, no. But, you know. Yeah, what's up, Theo?
Hey, guys. So,
yeah.
Fresh, if you go on to their Patreon, oh, God. You
Well,
got,
I just want, huh? Well, you know,
you got me partially on a bad day. Okay.
No,
so,
you fine. Yeah, no, you actually look like you might whoop a motherfucker's ass. They keep talking about, you know, you being bald. So actually, I might need to pull you up so they realize stop. You know, because you know how black people are. You got to look like you might do some shit and not give a fuck. But I want to be clear here. Like, I'm gonna let you say what you're gonna say, but this video is not about Fresh and Fit, and it really ain't even about their audience. This video is actually about Allende and how a lot of these dudes like to revisit stuff that we've already talked about, and then they try to paint like Red Pill as like we're extremists, when in actuality they're just trying to reset the conversation we already had. Now, the reason why I'm bringing Fresh and Fit into it is because that's what he's talking about. He's talking about it in conjunction with them. But my thing is, Fresh and Fit is not like the purest example of what Red Pill is, because they're in the dating sector. Not saying that they can't use it or anything, but if you try to pull, when Don is trying to pull what they do and make an example of what Red Pill is, I'm like, that's not accurate. That's why, and then that's where because I said the audience is not really Red Pill like that. They'll talk that shit, but they're still trying to engage in a way. So what you can say can still be true about Fresh. And then what I'm saying, I just want to be clear. I don't know if you came in the end, but anyway, no. With that being said, no, go ahead and make your statement so we can.
I'll say this about them. So if you go into their Patreon, which I'm a part of,
I'm not, full transparency.
I'm a part of it. They are super Red Pill, like incredibly Red Pill. Like the dating advice that they give on there is whack.
Okay, so the good shit is on the Patreon. Okay, that might be true because I haven't seen it. Go ahead.
Yeah, it is incredible, and that's where they got me to stop doing Midtown Monk, and like they actually focused on me and said, "Yo, you got to stop this shit, Theo," and they actually really helped me out with that one. I want to say, like, the guys on there who have various problems, because there's a whole plethora of men on there. They usually lead them through various stages of the Red Pill to get them on the right path. And then we sit there and we actually comment on each other's problems. We help each other out. So it's one of the best red pill communities I've ever seen.
Wow.
And then Fresh, people diss on him like I mean, I just think it's unfortunate. Like, again, I understand he has a speech impediment. I also, because I told you, like I said on Jessica X, I also have a speech impediment. And when I speak in Japanese, if I'm not concentrating, it comes out. And I know what that's like to be in another country, speaking another language, and you've got that issue, and you have to think. And that's why I respect him.
Okay,
because
so
he's doing what
English.
I did.
I just want to be clear. So English is not his first language. Is that what you're saying?
I don't think so. I'm pretty sure it's not.
Okay, so that's possible. Okay, I didn't want to say that because I didn't know, but that's putting it out there. Also, I want to make it clear too. I did a video defending Fresh and Fit. Well, no, not Fit, but not Myron, but defending. And notice that when I say what I say, for the most part, it's targeted at Myron. But I did a video defending Walter or Fresh when he had with that Grant Cardone video. Because Pocket Watching with JT really saw this is proof that he's a fraud and stuff like that. And I said, and he was laughing. No, well, he was laughing at him. And my thing is, people have a right to critique, fine, but it's out there. But when you're laughing at somebody, the quote unquote, as if having it's just the way he was doing it. And I'm like, dude, say what you want to about Fresh. You can say a lot of this stuff is fraud, but the one thing that I've seen that would definitely help guys out is his ability to not take shit personal. Cause you know this space, motherfuckers would have been setting this bitch on fire. Let's flag everybody if they would have came at folks, even how they come at Fresh. They wouldn't have let that go. That's the one thing. And the second thing is when people say, I don't know about the money, where his family got money, but I know I could believe the networking thing because he seems like a type of person that he would have no approach fear. He has no fear of, he thinks of what will happen. And some people can say that it's something missing that he wouldn't have that, but that's not, I don't even care about that because I've seen people like that are very, I've seen people they don't have this thing about you had the experience, it didn't kill you, so just have it again and again and again. And from somebody that dealt with procrastination a lot in general, and I got books on it, all of that if you were to get that from him, if you got nothing else from him, especially when y'all look at the kind of guys they are dealing with that will pay them and stuff. Not saying they're all bad because you got Quarantino and stuff like that too. But we're talking about the people that really need the help. That one thing would actually be worth a lot of what people would pay or the attention and stuff, and to sit there and take that Grant Cardone thing and don't look at it okay, that's where he was then, this is where he was now, which shout out to Beautiful Lies, he actually did that. Are you really here to critique people to say what the right way to go is, or are you really here just to that is what bashing is.
I would agree.
Go ahead.
I totally agree with you. That is what bashing is. And that's what he's experiencing, and he totally doesn't care, and I think that's great on him. He's doing a great job, and if you would see the receipts that he makes small little videos on Patreon, and especially in Telegram, and he shows the women he's going out with. Oh my God! These are women that I wouldn't necessarily smash, but I gotta give them full respect.
Okay.
He's smashing hotties.
Well, Theo, you got respect in this space, so that's why I said Quarantino, Duke, and you. We don't know Quarantino, but he just did a good job at kind of some of the shit he was pushing back on. He should have just let ride, but whatever. But the thing about it is, I'm here to call balls and strikes. I'm not here to sit there. At the end of the day, I'm not going to tell people not to buy their shit because as far as I'm concerned, you're accountable to who you listen to and who you buy. And as somebody that's bought information, I understand that some of the game, and I've bought $1,000 courses and stuff, not for dating, but no, not for dating, but I have bought a lot of stuff on that for different people. But anyway, the point is, part of that is you take everything with you. So even if you buy a course, sometimes I'll learn so much and I'll buy a course. I'll say, well, goddamn, I already know this shit. And it's not that the course is bad. It's that I've invested in my own education. And so when the way that some of these guys say, oh, but this is bad, this is that, I could critique their stuff. I could, but at the end of the day, for the people, at the end of the day, they're paying for it. And It ain't like they got a whole bunch of shit in there talking about, oh, well, their shit's bullshit. I want a refund. Like, I'm making reviews. People have a right to do that. People could easily make YouTube channels saying I bought their shit and it's trash. I haven't really seen that.
Right.
And people that would be very incentivized to go find it, they would make those videos pop. So at the end of the day, it does get to the point where you're low-key hating if you're constantly hitting. Why are people buying this? They need to look. No, these motherfuckers do know. And it ain't just about them. Even people like Grant Cardone or any of these guys, these motherfuckers, if they keep buying, they know what the fuck they're buying.
Yeah,
so go ahead.
I agree with that, and they know what it is, and they're complaining about. They're being a bunch of wussies, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, like, deal with the product. I mean, it's not a bad issue. If you really don't like it, then just go away. For example, I'm in Myron's exercise app. I've taken it twice. I have to go re-sign. And that the thing I like about Myron's app and Myron as a coach, because he's talked with me personally, is emphasizing the urgency of being your best self in the red pill. And he doesn't really care about all the crap that's going on out there. He's just like, be your best self, and really, like, don't like rationalize your failures away, because then you're going to repeat your failures. Like deal with them and move forward. And he really, like, again, I got that urgency. I had some of that urgency in my mind before, but he's on fire. He's on another level. So I'm just like, okay, I really have to do that. I lost over 50 pounds so far with Myron's app. I mean, I can go up the stairs. I couldn't properly go up the stairs. Well,
I'll tell you this. One thing ain't nobody that said that Myron don't know what the fuck he talking about on the fitness thing. Most of the thing people say, like, even when they say his character, people can separate that. They just say he's an asshole. And the biggest thing with me, and you don't need to comment on it, is this shit behind the scenes with some of these creators where he be talking, but some of that is competition. But it is what it is. People handle it the way they're handling it. But yes, on that front, I haven't heard anybody say anything negative about Myron from a fitness point, which is why when Anna Quinn was on here, you may not have been here, but when she started talking about, oh yeah, it's about character, I said, hold on, bitch. You did leave half that shit off, and you chose to do that. And you also did those stories, and then you actually kind of. And here's the thing: when you and Myron was coming at you from just a fitness standpoint, that you did act like he won't shit because you only looked at what he had on Instagram. So we're not gonna pretend you didn't do that. That's not, and I saw that even before all the extra shit came out, even when she put it out. So don't get in here and try to act like you the little victim. I mean, Myron can still be an asshole, but don't act like you pure and shit. And then when Allende was talking to, go ahead.
That's the entire point though that Myron has, and that's a red pill point of truth. You will go further and get more success as an asshole than you will in any other manner, and in terms of being a man. And so if you're going to be nice or presentable, the audience has to deserve that. They have to work for it, and then you can be nice towards them if they understand it and they're a part of your frame. Outside of that, you need to be a total jerk. And look at what Myron is doing. Look how effective he is. Look how people are watching him all the time. Yeah, he knows what he's doing. I am with Donovan Sharp and with Myron. I really upped my asshole game. I mean, like, totally. That's a part of the reason why I get on some of these panels and I'm talking stuff. I'm like direct, and I say what am I really thinking. It's because of these two. They really show me.
You can be a solid dude, and so there's degrees to it though. Like, there's degrees to it, but at the end of the day, like, I just wanted to let you know this video wasn't a Fresh and Fit Bachelor session. It was really kind of saying it was really more of a red pill defense session. Now you're coming up here and adding the fact that they're red pill and people give them credit for. You just got to buy into what they really talk about, buy into it to get the real information. Which
if you understand the red pill, you can understand how they're using it to toy with the women. That's as far as I'm concerned, that's the whole premise of the show. They're getting these red pill truths, and they're kind of slapping women upside their heads with them and dissecting them. And of course, it is kind of apparent that Myron has the ability to interrogate. So he's using that in order to really get to the truth with the women. And I think it's actually really cool. I think he's doing a great job. and he's he's going around saying women are capping. He can see through it.
So, question: what about?
Yeah.
So we'll go through a couple of things that Allende said since I got you up here. First thing is, Allende said he wanted to. If you heard what Allende said about exceptions to the rule, did you hear that? Okay, what do you think? What are your thoughts about that? In regarding to, well, it doesn't matter, but this was in regard to what the women he was trying to bring in. I can understand there's a business reason, but as far as just fuck the show, as far as exceptions to the rule and bringing that forth, what do you think about that? I mean, I said I don't see the point unless you're trying to make people believe that there's more exceptions than there is the rule. That's what I said.
Yeah, I would say stick with the rule and really try to the exceptions be exceptional and rare.
Yeah, because here's the thing: if you're talking to guys, even regardless of level, whether it's somebody that's at your level, where I mean, nobody can never not improve. It's always something somebody could do, right? But you got money and stuff like that. Versus you're dealing with people that they're younger, because they have a younger audience too. That they're more green. We'll say green. What is the point in them looking for exceptions? Why like so if you say, well, I'm going to present to you the single mother that's gorgeous, nobody's never denied there's a single mother that can look attractive, but that's not really what you're supposed to really look at just as red pill. Not saying you're supposed to deal with ugly women, but it's the other stuff that has more long-term consequences. And sometimes the way I hear him say that is that doesn't really click in. The other thing too,
okay, so it's clicked in for him. He might be making
I know. I mean, look, I'm honest. This ain't no. I'm a friend of one person and not. People go to his. He goes to see his channel. Yeah, I don't know him. Shit, just like I don't know Myron and Fresh. So if you got some insight, I ain't telling. This ain't no bashing thing, but shit.
Yeah. So a lot of guys say that the single mother is a practice chick. Also, the woman over 35, and if that's the way that they're operating, with their actions, so be it. I kind of just look back. I look past it and say, okay. Yeah.
I can understand that. Don't get them pregnant. Just don't do a PJ. Just don't do a PJ Washington. And apparently, I hope this isn't true. LaMelo Ball and that 32-year-old chick, Anna Montana, and he's 19. I hope that's not true. But they're on the same fucking basketball team, or Charlotte Hornets.
Men make, you're young, things happen.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. That's where you're coming at it with, too. Yeah, that's true. But, we tried certain mistakes are more life-changing than others that we hope to avoid it. But like I said, anyway, let me continue to play this real quick and then see what your thoughts are. That way we can do this in real time.
Why can't we have that discussion that will be helpful? If we can make the women understand.
Hold on. Let me go through the.
He needs to come in with the same.
Hold on. Let's get to the beginning.
Let me tell you why you would need to do that if you have this expectation and have a fucking useful conversation.
Hold on. This is the stepfather thing.
As to what types of authority said stepfather should have. If you're expecting to come
hold on.
I'm trying to bring single moms that are gorgeous.
Okay.
Look great for their age. Look amazing for having already had children. Understand, or at least are willing to have the discussion as to what types of authority said stepfather should have. If you're expecting him to come in and take on this type of responsibility, are you willing to let him lead you as well as the children? Are you willing to let him discipline the children? Let me tell you why you would need to do that if you have this expectation.
Here's the problem. Women can always remove that consent, and the law will always back them. So yeah, they can do that for a month, but you're committed at that point. So whatever.
I think that he's talking about a previous time. The current situation is so bad that there's no way that a man should choose a single mother, period.
That shit you might have got away with in the 90s. And to be honest with you, in the 90s, they shouldn't have been doing that shit, to be honest with you, but whatever.
And have a fucking useful conversation. Have a healthy conversation. When I was growing up, stepfathers were like the shit. If you were a stepfather, you automatically command respect in the community because you're stepping up.
Now, Theo, he ain't that old. Have you ever saw that saw that to be true? Like where they were considered the shit because you're stepping up?
Yes, I have seen this.
Okay.
Honestly,
Okay.
yeah.
I've seen where they
I mean,
have more respect. But not they're like, oh, I'm gonna be a stepfather. But yeah, I'm good. It's good. It's good
uh,
balance.
What I'm saying,
respect, just respect. Or the mother actually looks up to him and says thanks. And I see this mainly with white people.
Oh yeah, because
Yeah.
white men ain't playing white. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, but he's talking from a black man standpoint. So that
From a
means, yeah,
from a black man's perspective, no, it's game over.
I could
It's
believe that
not
because
good.
white culture don't really play that like that.
Right. Yeah. But it's ending in white culture as well. Just so you know, it's.
Yeah, because their single motherhood rate is rising. I mean, ain't they north of 50? They're about to hit that 50% tip. They're
Right,
close.
and then there's the white males are figuring out not to date the single mother, not to hook up. No, hook up with them, smash them, but don't get married. But it's not as severe as you see in the black community.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
another thing is, and folks have to understand, and this is general with non-black men, because a lot of non-black men understand there's a difference between sex and marriage. Like, for instance, let's say, they always talk about, well, black women are least desired. There's if you add, are you willing to have sex with a black woman? That number will go up. But if it's like easy sex or something like that, but are you willing to commit to them or claim them? And that's true for all men, but with black, as far as like men will have sex with certain women they won't claim regardless. But with non-black men, this is why a lot of these women can still get sexual access. Not as much as they would want, but still get sexual access. But they're not getting the marriages like that. They're not getting the commitments like that. And so when you're dealing with their audience and so that single motherhood, that's on top of that impediment. So you have to understand. And then a lot of younger guys are less tolerant to that because generationally they don't grow up with the same guilt. So, they'll dudes will fuck a single mom. You hear some red pill guys saying that, but if they look good and they're down, will they go over the river and through the woods to fuck a single mom? Maybe not. But if it's just there and they're attractive, they're not, dudes aren't gonna be like, well, you're a single mom, so I'm not having sex. No, and even dudes that say that are usually not really, if you present them with the situation, and I'm not necessarily saying the chick is just saying, come fuck me, but I'm saying if the chick is feeling them, they ain't gonna care. It's like, yeah, it's not a commitment, but whatever.
Why are we telling men to avoid this when the biggest problem we have as a species is lack of fatherhood? So if you're willing to
the problem we have is mate selection.
come and fill that gap,
and you see how he responded to that shit.
Yeah, this is blue pill. I'm watching this. I'm cringing. No, it's mate selection.
I see you moving around. He tried to not wild out. He's like, you getting flashbacks?
Yeah, I'm getting flashbacks from my life, from my former life when I was blue pill, and it's all about mate selection. This kind of guy, the way he talks, he's going straight into his own destruction. He doesn't understand it. It's gonna be he might not have it now. It'll be later because these women will go after him and use him in the end.
Let me see. So, shout out to Deronimer for the $5. If it's true that Anna Montana is pregnant, the Light Skin Coalition has to hold this L. Technically, it's a difference between a light skinned black man and a mulatto. So technically, in that situation, LaMelo is a mulatto. So that's how I'm gonna dodge that bullet. Because dudes like Xanatos, me, even out the thing there, yeah, you ain't pulling that bullshit. Not on no night at no night. Like, because here's the thing, I get getting a woman pregnant, Theo. I get that young people make decisions, but man, when you dealing with a 32-year-old, is you 19 and 32? I'm like, what in you what in you thought nothing in her was the right move? Like, she's 32. Guess what? You're 29. She'll be 40.
Can I say something real quick here?
Yeah.
So just to be honest, one of my good friends in Japan, he was 22. His Japanese teacher was 30. She seduced him and had him knock her up. And they got married. And so she was with this, she was 31 with a baby and he was 23.
Is this the guy you were talking about on Jessica X's show?
No, this is a different guy.
Okay.
I've really talked about him. And I felt sorry for him because I was looking at him and I was like, what the heck? He's from a very conservative family. But he even told me, he said he couldn't stop nutting in her. So, I mean, that means the woman had game. That's all I can think of.
No.
She won the lottery.
Yeah, and I've seen, and here's the thing, I won't act like it never happens. I've seen Africans get caught up, and because I'm in this university system, NC State engineering school, Duke and UNC, their reputation. You get a lot of Africans for like the engineering school, Indians, and I've seen a couple of dudes get caught up by older women. They'll be like 27, and the dudes will be like 19, 20. And what it is in there, I've asked them. This is when I was Uber driving, and they told me, and I asked them, they ain't never see me again. And I said, so how did that happen? And then he said it. He said, yo, what it is a lot of times, just to be honest with you, they be thinking they can control these females. At least in that situation, they think, well, those women are wild because the men are not leaders. And I said, that ain't true for black. That ain't true in the black. That's what y'all be believing. And he also brought up the fact that they be seeing the Cosby Show and they be thinking these women are like Claire Huxtable. And I'm like, but still, man, she was 27, yo. And he said, I know. And yeah, I didn't think it's something that needed to be said, but what it's showing is it's really showing why this space is needed. And maybe you could flip that in there because Fresh and Fit has a younger audience. And I know they ain't talking about dealing with single mothers.
No.
So
they don't do that. No.
I didn't think Disease needed to hear that. And that's another thing I'm going to say too. I've said it before. A lot of these women that are like 36, 37, if somebody were to put a gun in my head and say I have to give them a solution as far as how they would get like a dude that's like that they might want, I said your sexual skills have to be phenomenal. You have to be able to take a dude out of his logic. You have to be able to do that. And so y'all need to know how to do it. Y'all gonna have to put it on them because all that guilt shit ain't gonna work. But if y'all know how to put it on them good enough, and this is what I think happened with Brittany Renner, because one of Brittany Renner's best friends is Tiana Trump. Tiana Trump said it openly. She had 80 bodies before she was out of high school. So if you're learning, and keep in mind, Tiana Trump is only 23 years old. Brittany Renner's like 29. So if she learned anything, and this chick is in the porn industry, if she learned anything from her, dudes ain't. I don't give a fuck how much. Even the dudes that are in NBA or they're put on that track to go to the like professional leagues, they're still sheltered. So you may be fucking a lot of chicks, but you're not fucking chicks that necessarily have that kind of sexual game. But
no, you're entirely correct here.
But the problem is you got women in America with their egos. They don't feel like they should have to please a man like that, so they don't ever develop that just in case. Because see, to develop that, that's not something that you can just turn on 100%. It's just like anything. That has to be a practice skill. This is why women that have a lot of these bodies, y'all really, if y'all are not ready to deal with a chick like that, especially if you're young, you need to stay away from women that they are extremely sexual proficient, especially if you got something to lose. Because if they do have those sessions, they're going to know how to target that shit. They're going to know how to focus it and turn it up for like 90 days. They'll put you in 90 days to heaven for 18 years of,
hell. Yeah, 18 years of hell. No, you're entirely correct. This is why I don't date certain women in the United States in particular, because I know who they are. I know what they can turn it up like that. And I know what my assets are in my environment. I'm like, there's no way. So these women will be piranhas. And if they get me in a moment of vulnerability, that's it. I mean, they get $25,000 a month for the next 18 years. I'm not going to deal with that.
Do you listen to Black Ram?
No.
You should. You try me as Black. Black Ram is all the time talking about, succubi and stuff like that. That's how he does his stuff. Yeah, your textbook. Black Ram. No, for real. Like him. Yeah, he is always like he goes into details how black women are succubi. He even breaks down certain lyrics of certain songs. Like WAP and some of the shit that these women be saying in these songs are crazy. You be like, this is what these bitches are listening to over and over and over and over and over and over again. Anyway, so let's see. Shout out to Zeno. Every second baby daddy's idea was just to sleep with a single mother, and of course, never goes as planned. Yeah, and I used to call dudes that sleep with single mothers bargain basement shoppers because a lot of times they're trying to get a woman at a certain age, at a certain attractiveness level that they might not been able to pull before they had the kid. Now, if dudes know what they're doing going into it, I don't have a problem. But you're just gonna go into it with eyes wide open. That's my thing. So let's this play. See what else they gotta say.
Understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That should be encouraged. But hold on, because everybody's gonna say no, because this can happen, that can happen.
Yeah, these fanboys, yep.
Chores and all that. Okay, so time out. That means the man being willing to step up is only half of the equation. The other half of the equation is the woman understanding that he needs to come in with the same level of authority as if he was the father of those children in a time in a society where even the biological father is not given the proper authority and proper power in the house.
So the question,
so why can't?
So the question is, do they not understand that? Do they not give a fuck? You make it, and this is what black people in particular got to stop doing. Black people got to stop saying lack of education is the reason why motherfuckers do like fucked up shit. I'm tired of giving people outs for that bullshit. That's why I jumped on folks when they were trying to talk about, they were trying to play, but I'm like, motherfucker, this dude got more money than you, well, travel to you, all these other metrics. But you sitting there not giving respect to that, and see somebody like you could get in front of non-black people and probably get propped for accomplishment, but black people want to roast. And then y'all wonder why y'all out here thinking like Sha'Carri Richardson, even in front of 980s, looking goofy as fuck.
Yeah, you're entirely correct here, and this is something that I mean, actually with Bernard and Little Big Name, that I've learned to just totally discount. Like the idea that these people don't know what they're supposed to do is BS. They're lying. They know what they're supposed to do, because it's amazing that when it comes to getting resources, they become like PhDs and know how to execute perfectly in order to finesse either from other people or from the government. And so I looked at it. It's like, no, man, you know what this is. You know what your mission is. You know what you're trying to do. You knew what you're doing with that occasion with that guy. When you went into that room, you went into that area, you knew what was going to happen. You wanted it, and that's why you did it. And so I have no more mercy for you.
And I have more respect for somebody that will come full force and acknowledge that. I would have had a lot more respect for like what Anna Quinn did. If Anna Quinn put the whole conversation out there and said, this is what the fuck, this is what the fuck it was, the good, the bad, the ugly, I'm right, so make your decision because it's going to be seen. I would have had more respect for her and maybe I would have still acknowledged that you kind of antagonized and acknowledged everything. But there's intention in leaving stuff out. And the thing about Allende and what I would say is, Allende, I get you. But number one, you got to understand every woman, even with him, because dudes be thinking because they built in this. The thing about it is you're going to be a target too. But y'all are targets anyway. But my point is, this thing of you got to stop enabling folks to say they didn't know. Because they're going to prove, and I'm cool with him if he had a channel where he bringing women up, because eventually women are going to tell on themselves. Because in this environment, they just can't help but do so, regardless of how you try to get it out. I mean, Kevin is proving that. But this thing about what they don't understand, because the thing is, I have no guarantees that if they quote unquote understand, there's no way to enforce that. That's the problem. The other issue too is the community benefits from a man stepping up. How does that man benefit?
Yes. How does the man benefit? Where is his benefit? If he would just by himself, or if he stepped up, where is his life better? And I had to go through a massive analysis on myself personally on this and say, now let's just wake up. And I was not only for myself, but I was looking at my friends, white and black, and seeing what they were deciding, like what their actions were. And it was obvious that I saw more and more of the men, particularly the white men, saying, we're out. We're not going to deal with being like a single father. So we're not going to be a stepfather. Yeah. This is it. We're done. And they'd be single, or they would get married to a woman in her 20s.
Yeah. And the thing, white men have a different, because a lot of what white men go through has to do with class. And when I say class, I mean, you have the top. It's always been that way. It's just they let it's like now it's like, and I'm not blaming, just saying, oh, it's the elite. But the thing about it is it used to be this unspoken agreement that you would protect the culture for everybody. Now liberals and conservatives can have their fight, but you would protect the culture for everybody, and we wouldn't use class warfare we wouldn't use the culture as a way to wage class warfare. What white men deal with is basically the elite, and they know this. Now, depending on how hard they're willing to jump on it, because they can always be in that class, that's how they play the game, is a different thing. But They're using class warfare. They're using culture as a way to waste. Feminism is a class warfare tactic. Feminism can be used as a lot of different things because it can be used as a soft power thing to influence countries we may not have full influence over like we should because it's a very cheap way to influence them. But in the United States, on their front, that's why like it's separate because for us, it's not a class thing because we deal with this shit no matter what class we're in. So that's so see, white men, they kind of, and I'm not saying that like, because obviously you have Bezos, right? You have Bill Gates, right? But the thing is, they have so much money, it almost doesn't even matter at that point. Like, and those are exceptions, but not to say that wealthier white men can't deal with it, because I've seen that, because I've seen them get fucked. Shout out to Divorce Court. Because that shows them getting fucked. And I've seen stories, I've seen real life of them getting fucked by them fucking the doctor and stuff like that. Yeah, so and I'm not belittling their issue, but it's a slightly different issue. That's what I'm saying. Not saying it's not as valid to them as not, because hey, as you can see, as they let this bullshit come, a lot of this the dusty shit is going and they're effective. See, them letting this shit happen in our community or thinking it's not a big deal. Like if you wouldn't, if white women would not have had the ability to be seen as a minority, like with the Monahan report, and they went against that, and they would have nipped that shit in the bud, then white men wouldn't be dealing with the shit they would be dealing with. And I would argue for any white dude that would sit there and say, they may not admit it, but they'll say their big issue, if they have it's not even that it's a big issue, like black women, where they have this thing about interracial stuff. I would say, look, black men want to be with black women. If you want to keep black men away from your women, the best thing you need to do is help us deal with ours. That's that you do. If you were to help us basically break this gynocracy and stop having it as like a lock on the black community, because I don't think they did it on purpose. I think they figured it out by accident. When they figured out how much black women were just willing to just betray us like that, I think they discovered that by accident and kind of like let the shit happen. It's not so much they help. Yeah.
Let me go ahead and comment. They don't understand that black women are betraying black men. What they think is they have this constant narrative being given to them that black women are being abandoned by black men, and that the black man is uneducated, and this is all due to racism, and the racism is due to the white person. And so the liberal sits back and says, "Oh, I'm guilty. Oh, this is horrible. What do I do?" And says, "Oh, okay, if I give this money, this welfare, if I approve it, then this situation will correct itself." And the ones that are saying the most vocally is the black woman, when the black woman knows exactly what she's doing.
What about red pill? I believe that. I know that's true on blue pill white men. What about the red pill guys?
They're figuring this stuff out. Like they're figuring it out. See, I've talked about this on other streams as well. What has to be is that red pill, black and white, have to start talking to each other, and they have to start fundamentally saying, like, there is no racism between us. We have no problems with each other. They do that, they shatter feminism immediately.
Well, they used to. Zero has said stuff like this too, and I've said straight up, the problem is they want to make it like the problem is black men are too pro-black over here, and there is that element, but the reality is that element is not in this space like it used to be, not in the black manosphere. The black manosphere is more conservative than anything else, and the pro-black element is really somewhere, it's really like adjacent. But your super pro-blacks, like O'Shea is like as pro-black as it really gets in this space. I mean, BGS too. Mm-hmm. But the thing about it is that's not why we initially split. We initially split because you had white dudes that they couldn't square with the fact that they were losing their privilege, and because they didn't want to blame their women, they wanted to basically push it to the BBC. Now, granted, you may have certain like a lot of the Canadian white boys understood that's not what it was because they didn't have that problem because how their population stretched out, and they have more socialism.
Let me come in here because I came into the black manosphere from the white manosphere, and my personal opinion is that black men were by far more red-pilled because the damage was by far greater.
Yeah,
and so they had
less protection.
Very different. They had less protection. They were getting hit by far worse. It's like about 2017. I started seeing the black manosphere, and I was like, "Oh my God, look at this! This is where the real red pill is going to be battled. This is the real battle zone." And it's because the damage and the degree of feminism and the degree of dehumanization of black men is by far greater than what you have with white men.
Yeah, because they have more protection, and it's not. And I say that because it's not about black men being smarter or more gamed up. It's like, if you put somebody in the field of war, I don't care how much you train somebody. On law averages, the people that look at what the Taliban has dealt with, and you see how quickly they took over Afghanistan because they just needed motherfuckers to leave. But it doesn't matter how much you train the other Afghanis, right? Once they just said fuck it, because these people are more battle hardened. So when you look at what we've dealt with, but because we've dealt with this gynocracy that is powered by white supremacy, but that's another thing. Because if these
I agree. Yes, exactly. Yeah. It is powered by white supremacy. 100% agree.
Yeah, it's a class. It's designed to keep the black community buying everybody else's shit for our own, because that's really the only real way we're of use as an economic stimulus. And now you're starting to see, you saw that got exported to other classes. So the higher classes, they own the corporations and shit. And look, I'm a capitalist. I'm not against capitalism. Let's be clear here. I just want to say that for anybody might listen to this. But understand that they said, I can get more money out of this bitch, including our bitches, than we could the dudes. So what's the point with automation and fourth industrial having all these dudes in here when labor is not necessarily in most industries that's value, although it's still in some? We get the money back by giving them money. And by the way, the women, this is where a lot of white shit coming in. Also, this is where white women getting the minority status, because that keeps wealth in the white community. But see, the problem is there's byproducts of that. One byproduct of making a black man look bad is this sexual bad boy thing that they've never really dealt with, but it's seen to like, okay, well, that's not gonna affect enough people for it to be a problem. And then the other thing is that they never accounted for is they really didn't account for their women overwhelmingly. Like, it's not, and let's be clear here. Here's the thing that needs to be understood. White women are like 33% of the population. So this is not to say that every white woman wants a black man. That's not true. Okay. No. I would argue the majority of white women want a white man, right? That's how everybody generally is. But the thing is, when black men are 6% of the population, you don't need, 33%. You only need a small percentage of any group in order for that to look a lot bigger than what that is. You see what I'm saying? So when you're dealing, so if you're a black man and you make $25,000, $50,000 a month or more, you're automatically in the top 25%. If you move that to like 80,000 or more, you're in pretty much like the top, like 8%, 7% of black men. So of course, dudes that can achieve that level, it's gonna look like they're doing more than what it really is, because the majority of black men deal with black women. So what I would say is this fear that y'all have of the BBC, because this is what they really believe, and I'm gonna let you talk. They believe that if black men get economic status or economic collective power, then if we can already fuck other bitches now, oh God, they'll just be able to take over. That, like, it's from a sexual marketplace, because the money is the only thing that keeps motherfuckers from really dealing with us like that. That's their fear. Ironically, it probably would be the opposite, because at that point, if we have patriarchal control over our own group, more of our women will be viable. Less of them will be fat as hell. Less of them will be single moms, and therefore, most black men want because black men and white men want different body types in women, generally. So it's not even. But see,
let me go ahead and comment.
Go ahead.
So, coming into the black manosphere, again from the white manosphere, I was surprised to the degree to which black men wanted black women. It is by far stronger than how much white men want white women.
You can't keep these niggas away from these bitches. Go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. And although you have white men who are not even dating like liberal white women, they're kind of sitting back and saying, I wish the situation was better because I would hook up with you. Whereas the black men are actively smashing women who I don't think they should be smashing, but they can't stop it almost. And so basically, you're entirely correct. If the black man were able to better establish himself, which he's trying, he's getting there. But if the women were more submissive, they were following them, they were in a conservative environment, black men would, for the most part, I would say about 98% wouldn't even think about dating out. They would be dating locally, not even another state. they would be dating locally. The
Yeah.
black women, they'd be making families and just be happy.
And then if anything, you see folks pander to Hispanics, but it's that irrational
Right.
fear, and I say that because that's not all of the white manosphere, but that's a very vocal part of it. And a lot of these bigger content creators, first of all, they identify with it a lot more than some of them like to admit, but they have this thing where it's like, we can't tell them you need to chill the fuck out for the greater bullshit that will ultimately help you ultimately. They don't shut that down. And this is why and they also, in my opinion, were very surprised that we would go and create our own shit and then we would be as successful as we were with it. Now, we're not doing shows like they're doing, like as far as physical things, but because at first they were a lot more in what we were doing at first, like BGS, Ehbm, and stuff like that. And then they left us alone when they really realized we weren't really talking about like, we talk about racism, but we don't talk about it like as they thought we would talk about it. So they kind of left it alone. And a lot of them pulled a lot of shit from us and then try to act like they said it. And so anyway, that is what it is. But it's always seen that we're too pro-black. And in reality, that's not really the case. The case is they got to let go of them motherfuckers that can't let that BBC bullshit. Because again, even if you look at porn and shit, that shit's driven by white dudes. Black men are not driving the porn industry. We don't own it. Right. We don't control it. Like the audio, it ain't enough of us buying it because you know what's in our culture. They're gonna be like, why would you buy it when you just get it from porn? You know what I'm saying? That's them driving all that.
But most interracial porn is white, Asian, white, Latina.
Yeah, I haven't paid it. That sounds like exactly. But from the interracial standpoint of it is with black, that's not black people drive. That's not black men driving that. But I didn't even think of that. I didn't even think of that.
No, I know about this. We talk about this because most interracial dating is actually in the United States is actually white men with Asian women, white men with Latinas. And I've lived all across the world, and the biggest
So you talk about globally? You talk about in America and globally, or
we're talking about Western men.
Okay.
When white Western men are dating out, they're almost always going for Asians, and they go like this is a large number.
Oh yeah,
and it's to a degree that like white women should actually be concerned and worried about this because they're once they meet Asian, boom, it's gone. They're not going back. And it's pretty much the same with Latina
that's the white woman problem. And to validate your point on Fresh and Fit, that chick that was from Miami, the white chick that Kevin checked, that was one of the things she kept on doing. She kept on talking about like these Colombianas. These are obviously the white looking Colombians and Latinas. So that's a threat to a lot of these chicks. And I even heard what's her name? What is that chick's name? The conservative white chick that was talking about the men.
Jennifer.
I forget her name. We all know the white bitch we talking about though. She even talked about these Tatianas. They're not talking about black women. They're talking about these white Latinas. You know, these white Latinas like the Selena Gomez types, but even whiter than that. The ones that really you wouldn't even think they're Hispanic like that. Go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. Those are the ones who are taking like high value white men in quite high numbers, and people aren't really talking about it that much. It's kind of like hush hush like they don't want to speak about it. But then you have these white women, the liberal white women, who are talking about where
Tommy Lauren.
Yeah, and they're like, well, what's going on is that some of the white guys are playing, and some of the guys are dating out, and some are still with white women, but it's not the numbers that they think it's really going to be. And so they're not really talking about that. They just keep it down on the down low. It's not something that's an issue. But I have plenty of liberal, white, educated men making over $200,000 a year who have entirely 100% married out. They're not marrying black. They're marrying Asian, Latina.
Yeah, and it's not even enough numbers for that even to be the case. But there is enough Asians, there's enough Latinas. So like that's like the Muslim situation in Europe. Like a lot of these white women dealing with these Muslims. And the thing about it is, if they're going to be more liberal minded, they still may be patriarchal than you're used to in the West. But they're liberal. They have a different look because all of them aren't like phenotypically completely out there. You know. To where they be opposed. So it's not even enough black men. Like you don't really think about black men like that in Europe because they don't have the numbers at all for that to even register like that. So it's not on the radar. And so yeah, that's kind of Hispanic situation here. And the thing about it, a lot of people don't know there's more Hispanic men than women. So this is why
Right,
Hispanic
exactly.
men trip about us taking them. But a lot of Hispanic men, if they get economically on point, is going to want to deal with a white chick or theirs.
That's right. Exactly right. And you see, again, the white manosphere, they're complaining about BBC. And then also some of them were complaining about illegal Latinos coming over and taking their women. And I was just like, if an illegal Latino is able to take your woman, you have a problem. Like, that's not you, dude. Like, because that's a guy who barely has anything. And he comes over and takes your woman. That's you. You level up. Like, where are you working at? You're working at McDonald's? Okay, we got to talk about that because you have a problem. All right.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And it's like me, I'm short. It's like me talking about these tall motherfuckers. I mean, at the end of the day, you gonna have to balance that out. And another thing, and I'm not being mean, I'm just saying it. Y'all like stop. Look, it is what, like Kevin Samuel said, it is what the fuck it is for the sake of this conversation. But do not act like y'all do not have an artificial advantage. Like, you do not act like you're coming. I don't give a fuck about that white men are talked about in the media. Remember, behind every white man is they first of all, they ain't talking shit about y'all in the media. They ain't making like the fucking, Candyman where the shit makes us like stop that. But even outside of that, the reality is you all know you all are not starting from behind. From an economic state, your reputation is not like people don't. There's a very few people outside of the black community, and even most of them are capping like black women. If they had access to like a Leonardo DiCaprio or even like what's the dude like John B, somebody like that, they're not gonna just throw that shit out, But even outside of that, most other races of women consider white men to be the top. So all things being equal, if they can get a white dude, you're never out of the running. Now, Indians, it depends. And that's the one thing white men could trip about, because if they want an Indian women are not necessarily on that. They're like one of the exceptions to that rule, although they will date white men, but not in the same kind of universally like, I'll try you out type of shit. But other than that, you're never out of league. Now, for black men may get sexual access, but the truth is black men are not necessarily going to be considered. Even a lot of women that fetishize black men are not necessarily looking to black men to marry. Why? Because another thing is they may lose their privilege, either with their family or if they're white. There's a social cost. And also, as a black man, you have to be able to compensate for that cost, meaning you got to be solid. So they're going to look at you. This is where one dude put in the comment section in the chat talking about, oh, well, black women don't like light-skinned men. Number one, that's not true. But number two, to the extent you don't hear light-skinned men complain about that, it's because in many ways, light-skinned men may not be considered for a fetishization, but light-skinned men, all things being equal, would be more considered to be a more reasonable long-term partner because you're not losing as much. I'm not saying this to play the dark skin game, but globally, it's much easier to present a light-skinned guy as it is to present a dark-skinned guy, all things being equal. That's an easier sell. Yeah. I'm not saying it should.
Yeah.
Am I you're more international than I am? Or what have your experience with that, Theo?
Yeah, I totally agree with you on this one. And the thing is that there is kind of like a fetish with the black man. So if he doesn't have his cash flow correct, then she might smash with him like secretly, but she won't really consider him long-term material. But she enjoys that like one night or that 1 week with him. But if he's educated and his high value, or a Henry or high value, somewhere around there, this is where it changes, and she'll more likely to pursue him than the white guy. Like, she'll try to lock him down faster.
And are you talking about that's irregardless of skin color, right? Like of tonality?
No, they'll be black, any kind of dark guy.
Yeah. So that's why I want to, because that's what I want to make sure they understand that. So we're not talking about the light skinned session. And also, when you said color struck, the dude, this Vince, yeah, the Indian men might be like that, but the women can be, but they kind of got them on lock a little bit. Now, if they're like second generation or first, that may be different. But when they come in here as immigrants, them women are not necessarily jumping like that as fast. And I've heard white men say that. But you're talking about, okay, so you're talking about like what we consider normal black guys, what people look in the media as normal black guys. Once they hit that Henry status, that's what okay, go ahead.
If they're abroad and they're dating like not in the U.S., but they're abroad, they're a foreign
Okay.
market, and they have that Henry or high value status, and they're a black guy, women will go for lockdown on that guy, like piranhas, like they're like lockjaw on that guy.
Why do you think that is?
Because they get the status, they get the kid, and they want the guy. They generally want
that's the trifecta.
Yeah.
So when you say abroad, like you're talking about Asia, Europe, like what countries in particular? Oh, so you're talking mainly. I mean, I get it, but what? Like, I'm not saying like you got to give it a whole thing, but just to give people an idea. So you're talking about when you just said that mainly Europe.
Europe, Asia, South America.
Okay. Oh, wow.
This has been my experience, and also my experience with other. Hold on, I gotta block this. Okay. This has been my experience with my other high value black men friends who have been going to different countries. They have money. They're like over $150,000 a year, and they said it was a totally different experience between like between $150,000 to $150,000. Whereas once they hit the $100,000 a year threshold, the women were really trying to get rings. Like they're just trying to lock him down very quickly.
Trying to get rings.
Yeah,
it's just funny. Like it's funny, but for real, yeah, he's talking about getting rings. Like, woo.
Yeah, I remember when I was in Japan. I was making $85,000 a year, and like I had somebody I was dating, and then I hit 120,000, and it went straight to marriage.
I get mixed things from Japan because you know how they talk about Japan is very xenophobic, and you know there's some channels talk about African Japan, but you always remember African Americans versus Africans maybe considered different. I don't know. I the closest I got to Tokyo was the fucking airport, and not in Tokyo. The airport is out there away from the city. I was fucking mad, but what's your experience with Japan?
No, I was there for 12 and a half years as an adult. They go after black men who are successful. The ones they really go after are black British men. Those guys, if they have over $100,000 a year, they are hunted down straight out. And the number two would be like a reggae guy, kind of guy that's kind of funky, can play music. He looks cool. That guy is like. It'll be very hard for him to get out of the country.
Now, is it that many like African Americans for them even to gauge that, or like because people would say, oh, African Americans is third, but are they even out there like that?
They're out there. I mean, they're numbers. The white guy is more numerous, but yeah, they're out there. I had African friends, mainly Ghana, Nigeria, and they were married to Japanese women as well. And this is the thing I saw also in the Philippines. I also saw this in Thailand. It's not really as bad as you would think it is. They're not really xenophobic. People who say that there's xenophobia, they probably ran into some situations that were bad that happened out there. It's like, okay, get over it because you got that other girl over there who's staring at you, wanting you to date her. Go look at where you're wanted, and you're wanted in a lot of places.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, CR Frank. That Japanese Brazilian mix, that's a hard mix to find. But that's if I could find somebody could give me access to a watering hole of that mix. But
that's Sao Paulo. I'm planning on going there in January.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going specifically after Brazilian Japanese.
Okay, well, yeah, you need to. I'm sure Fresher Fit make you add that to them. Yeah, man, we can split it, man. Charge their ass. We got to charge it for that. That's rare. That's a rare mix. Don't put that up there for free. That's a rare mix, though. You pretty could get it. And that's not a diss. Like I said that. I meant that. I said, yo, they really need to start putting you on either the payroll or some kind of YouTube access between you. I'd say you number one, but I would say if you got to do somebody else like Quarantino. And then I would even throw in the Duke because the Duke kind of I think has it real good from an audience standpoint, but like real talk because I'm just saying they need PR. They don't need PR, but it's like one of those things where it's like it'd probably help your growth if you had it, and it's like would pay a PR person somebody could really speak to it from somebody that's been in this situation, has given them money, has explained why. So let me continue this real quick. We won't go through the whole thing, but yeah.
Sure.
We have that discussion that will be helpful. If we can make the women understand that, then you would stop having these single mothers demanding that men step up without giving men what should come with that responsibility.
Look at how Anna's reacting to this. See, that's the problem. You don't even understand the bullshit you saying. But go ahead, I ain't gay.
Yeah.
Needs to come authority. They go hand in hand.
Yeah, it's almost like telling one side of the story and not giving the chance for the other guys or the other women to come aboard and say, "Hey," because I've seen that's the thing when they talk about don't white single mothers and all that stuff. Like I get it, but then in my personal experience, I'm going around seeing people who are already mothers and they have their fathers and they're working while they're doing all this stuff. So it's like, what are you talking about? I don't understand the reality you're trying to portray. Do you have anything?
You do not see. Okay, hold on. Anna's about to jump in on this. I want to get her. She ain't said
Add to that, Anna.
Yeah, especially being about to be a single mother. This is something where, the Fresh and Fit podcast, they don't want to, like you're saying, they don't want to bring anyone on that doesn't fit their narrative, that doesn't go along with the image that they're trying to project. And until all of this beef with his following coming after and attacking it, I had no idea how absolutely evil people could even be towards single moms. But people are not.
Get the fuck out. Well, as a white woman, you might not, but get the fuck out of here, man. You in a white community, white men ain't playing that game with you.
Don't realize.
And this is assuming you a single mom because of a white dude. We ain't even assuming if he ain't white, because if he ain't white, they ain't playing with your ass with that bullshit.
There is a story that needs to be told, because just like a woman deciding to be a single mom or being a single mom is not always derogatory. It's not always.
Man, you deciding to. There's a reason women never say they decided to be a single mom. There's a reason why that narrative is not out there, because once you decided, now it's not the narrative of people didn't step up. Now it's the narrative that your morals are just not intact.
It's not always bad for the kid. I can't talk about all of the specifics of my current situation because honestly, I will say this, because the father threatened to kill me if I don't get an abortion. So, and I'm trying to get into a new place. So, I can't talk about all the specifics.
Then we know he ain't black. What black man go tell a white female, I'm gonna kill you if you get. That don't sound like, but hey, that's me. And trust me, if he was black, hey, look at this black guy. See how much money she would make off that shit.
A lot more than that has transpired.
Don't Anna got that look like you would put her on the that they're killing the dogs. In the arms of an angel. She got that look.
And in this situation, everyone coming at me and like hating on me, saying that it's terrible, like single moms are trash. This is because this is the narrative that even
Don, you simping like a motherfucker, but all right.
This podcast has led people to believe that single moms are trash, when in this case, like, I would give anything to have a man by my side during pregnancy, during this awful, like, challenging time. Have to be alone by myself.
Go ahead.
Bullshit. Exactly, bullshit. If you are you're about to be a single mom and you understand the situation, yeah, you would make sure that the man is there. I mean, I have stories about this. I got hit by a truck one time when I was riding my bike. I was hospitalized, and I made sure people, even that I didn't like, were around me in case I needed some sort of medical care. So they would, even if they were laughing at me, I didn't care. And it's like, this is gonna be a single mother. She would take the devil himself just to be there for a while she's getting through the worst parts, and then get rid of him afterwards. So she's capping.
Okay. No, absolutely. Christopher Williams, $5, right? Would the different cultures overseas consider IT a respectable profession, i.e. Japan, China, Brazil, Philippines, given network engineers? Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. That's
is not an emerging profession.
It is. That's what I do. That's where the money is. Dude, I mean, come on, Christopher. I mean, come on, man.
Yeah, I appreciate the $5, but I know you know the answer to that question. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just like, okay, so this is cap. Let's move on. This is
because I don't want to put a violent man in my child's life. Because
But you let him nut in you though, god damn it. Fuck.
For my child, and I do want a good man to come in and take that leadership. But
this sound like a black chick in the 90s. That's what this sounds like. See, and what did we say? That white people are like 20 years behind us in the bullshit. You know, y'all having that ethanol, so that's y'all crack area. Ain't nobody talking about because of COVID. But you know, so yeah, that makes sense, of course. And see, the problem is that dumbass niggas just sign up for that shit because they're like, well, if she's a bitch like half the time, that's better than being a bitch 100% of the time. But yeah,
story never gets told, and instead it's just single moms. Don't end up with single moms. Single moms are trash. There's no value. There's
I mean, Don, you really looking like this? Like, I know this nigga's African American. You really looking like you ain't never heard this shit? This nigga is capping like a motherfucker. Shout out to Hood Vines.
No one's even asking like the other side of the story, and they can't just say like their side and not bring on the other because there's so much more.
So, you never know what people are going through. Go ahead, Yende.
No,
am I saying your name right, Yende? I'm sorry, I'm Nigerian, so I have an accent.
Oh, well, everything makes sense. Oh, my bad. I take everything I said out of Don. No shade to Nigerians, but the point ain't that's not meant to be shade, but he's gonna come at it from a more traditional mindset. You know, the thing is, when you deal with folks that are of other cultures like that, of course, you may not have an issue with a single mom because you have all these protections and controls that are designed to control that bullshit. So it's never going to be in the situation. So he's not African American. Okay, that makes sense. And then Allende is Caribbean. So let's make that clear. So now we know.
I promise. Okay.
And this is why these. Go ahead. Shout out to Soul Provider Speak. Shout out to Ease. Shout out. We got a whole bunch of Nigerian brothers in the game, but they know there's cultural protections, you know.
I mean, what she was just saying, I tried to present that, and they just fucked it all up. I brought two amazing.
So keep in mind, these are all 980s motherfuckers now. So they're talking about two 980s motherfuckers, boy. I tell you, the rainbow of the diaspora.
Single moms are gorgeous.
I mean, for real though, like I always have to point that out. Like, remember, like, and if you bring Albro preaching to it, when he's talking about, I got you, like, all of this is not ADOS violence right here. That's what this is for once.
And you know, I'm trying to give them an opportunity to give us where they're coming from, so that we can kind of like meet in the middle and get it. And all they did was just railroad these chicks into the same damn narrative. And I was just like, what a waste, because I put that effort in. Because you gotta understand, there's one thing to just invite me.
Man, these bitches are only fan mouths. The end.
But then you gotta create a certain level of trust. They have to be comfortable with you and all kind of stuff.
The vibe has to be right.
Right, to get them on his work. And then with Myron, a lot of times
he keeps talking about the fucking vibe, man.
It's extra work to get them to come on once they see who he is. Do you know how hard it is to get women to come on? And then they're like, yeah, okay. So
I was gonna ask
because they're watching, they're like, oh hell no, I ain't going on that. So,
I got so many messages. I got so many messages from women who are like, my boyfriend told me to come on the show, but I don't know.
Yeah, because y'all don't expect. Because the thing about it is, and women are not supposed to want confrontation, so there's that. But they also don't want to look stupid on YouTube when there's that many viewership, because they know that shit's gonna spread. I mean, shit, Kevin still gets people to come on. But, well, Kevin's a little bit different. Kevin lets you fuck up before he starts really jumping on you. But the thing about it is, yeah.
It makes me a little nervous.
That's what I want to say. The vibe. So, like, when you were there, because one thing I noticed, like, because I watch body languages, I work in sales, so you kind of pick up little things. And what I noticed is, like, it's almost a level of uneasiness in there. And I said in my last video, I'm like, just watching this, man. If I was sitting in that room, almost I probably wouldn't want to be there any longer than I have to, or there's the tension so thick you can cut it with the butter
let me
knife.
tell you something. When you get a chance to watch that episode, it's called It's called Fresh and Fit versus Single Mothers. I don't even know why the fuck they put that versus in there like it's a boxing match, right? Now,
but it goes to your previous point though.
Right.
It's clickbait.
And when you watch that video, he made old girl cry for no freaking reason. He made the chick cry for no reason. I'm over here like, oh, you gotta be kidding me, man. I'm in this episode. So I'm like,
hold on, because I know Donovan Sharp did a review on the episode that was like that, and I don't know if he made her cry. I think she just fell apart because I remember that episode, and that's not how that went, though. To be fair to Myron, that's not how that went.
Trying to like edge out some good conversation.
It ain't like he yelled her ass down and she started breaking off. She was realizing she fucked up. That's what, because he was spouting, because Myron was spouting out statistics. This is when those statistics fucked them up. All right, so that dog, they were spouting out statistics. And then I remember that because Donovan did a review on that. And by the way, Theo, you're muted because the dog came in there.
the bullshit, with the stupid questions, with the questions that don't matter, setting chicks up to fall on their face. I'm like, come on, bro, let's get some good dialogue. I'm trying to talk about fathers being able to discipline the children. I'm trying to talk about this. And what the fuck? I'm trying to be.
But the problem is if women really, here's the thing. I call it the stepfather fucking insurance program. If women want that, there are things women can do independent of men to make that more enticing, or at least not make it more enticing to take the edge off. So why is it there a stepfather day? Why aren't women pushing that? Why are women celebrating stepfathers? Like they want to talk about. Why aren't they bringing that back? You got women like Danica Marie that pulls that, but they ain't really doing that because Danica Marie is considered a pick-me. See, the problem is women don't want dudes to clean up their shit until they ready to retire from the whole shit. Now, all of them ain't necessarily catching 100 six-figure bodies and shit, but the reality is a lot of them are, and you got a lot of women validating that shit. Like, you cannot honestly be out here, any woman that disagrees with me, any man tell me that women are going out of their way to try to make it actually attractive to be a stepfather. You can't tell me that's what's going. You can't tell me that's what's going on, especially in the fucking United States. Cut the bullshit.
I'm trying to be non-biased when we're having this conversation. Like you have this conversation, but
well, my thing is to be fair to Fresh and Fit. If that's not what their show is, that's not what it is. You can say, okay, and if I was doing it, this is what I would do. But Myron is doing what he is doing primarily for the audience, his main audience, whether you like it or you agree with it or not. Because I don't agree with this getting women drunk and kicking them out. But this is his audience. This is what they gravitate to. This is what they want. You could judge it, but that's not from a business perspective. It's like going on MSNBC and saying, well, we need more conservative shit. Let's say, motherfucker, that's not what we do.
Well, you have to think about the people who are giving the super chats, like me. They're going to be giving the super chats a lot when they see content like that.
Which is also something, exactly. And the thing about it is, even if you argue it's not balanced, well, there's other shows that are. There's other shows that are, so people can watch another show. So it's for the people. So you're, as a content creator, it's a difference. You looking at it from that perspective of what you would do. What didn't do it? That you don't have to like what they do, but I mean,
if you don't like what they do, then go to another channel.
Now this is where bringing up numbers like comes into play. Clearly they got to a certain level. We can argue that they got help, but the point is they didn't get help. People sticking, people staying subscribed is what they did. So that you can't take from them. Because trust me, everybody subscribed now want to be there. They lost the people that are just there just to be there. I mean, now they've been at 385. They've been at 3. I mean, that's basically what it is, 385. So they'll pretty much jump up from there.
You have real people who really want to be a part of it now. And these are the guys who are the real supporters. So
I'm not gonna lie though, they have taken a dip in their viewership though. I've seen that. Like they taking a hit. It ain't like they can't grow back, but they've taken a hit. But anyway, let's
determine. The question is, should guys consider being stepfathers if the atmosphere is right? If the woman is
no. Because being the stepfather is considered here's the thing. I'll ask a woman this: should you consider, all things being equal, dating a broke dude? The answer is always going to be no. You come out of it's always going to be no. All things being equal. Right. Now, if you add in that, okay, well, you can get a nigga, like, let's say you get an IND nigga, which is the nigga, the quote unquote select niggas they want, and he's making less money. Let's say he's making 40,000 and you make 120. Well, the question is, can you get a nigga like that? So, but we're not looking at economic value. Now we're looking at sexual marketplace value. So then at that point, as a woman, you got to measure what's important. I'm not here to tell you what it is. I'm here to say, because remember, that nigga can leave too. But those are just like how men have to make those calculations. But that's
we have to make the calculation. But the whole point here, particularly with the single mother, is that a man can always perform wealth transfer to a woman. And that's what the benefit is. That's what the social benefit is. Sandman went through this. I had to sit back and listen to it. Because you've heard my story about how I was homeless after that.
No, I haven't heard that story. I've heard Glennon went through that shit. But, you don't need to reiterate that. But,
I'm not going to reiterate it. But the whole thing was that the society is set up for wealth transfer for women to easily and readily accept transfer of wealth or money from men.
The infrastructure
And
for
so, right. So whatever it happens, it's good for her. Oh, it's a good thing. But if talking about a man pursuing his own family, no. Not if he could be allocated over to a single mother and wealth transfer go on over there. And
it.
this is why I say it's kind of quasi socialistic. And like
Yeah.
men have got to say, screw it, we don't care. Like we'd rather just be single than deal with this single mother crap.
Because at this point, we're dealing with common law marriage. And the thing about, even with that example I put Yanni D in there, if the woman is making more money, he's more protected. Now, obviously, he'll still have to pay child support. But like from a marriage standpoint, he's more protected because he won't lose because she's making more money anyway. So you can't make that argument. Not you, but they can't make that argument as well. But see, women are actually told not to do that for that reason. And black women do it anyway, but it's not usually black women are in the higher tiers. That's why you hear them bitching. When I say tiers, I mean economic tiers, which is why you hear them bitching about not being able to get men on their level because they're very frowned upon doing that. And they may still fuck dudes and get kids out of dudes, but that's on them. Hashim Jawar says they should put capes on their mics and name the show Rescue Ronnie. That's funny. Shout out for the $10. But yeah, so the thing, and see again, it's like y'all are having this argument, but y'all talk about this is not theory. This is not that's another thing Don said. We talk about theory. Nigga, we're not talking about theory. What are you talking about? There's documentaries, the Divorce Corp. We got the lead attorney now. We were talking this shit before we had Pocket Watching with JT, the lead attorney, Kevin Samuels. That shit just proved everything. We've been had this shit. So you could argue maybe it was theory 10 years ago. Now you cannot argue that. That's just some shit motherfuckers are saying. Anyway.
Right, if the child is the right age, if everything falls into place, is being stepfathers, if the atmosphere is right, if the woman is right, if the child is the right age, if everything falls into place, is it a viable option? And you're not.
The thing about it is a man would only really be a stepfather like that is if there's social benefits to it, and that particular woman, which most of these chicks ain't got that kind of social status, or if it's economic benefits, again, most of these women ain't got those type of economic benefits, or if there is looks benefits, in which at that point, that means the dude is readily accepting that he can't get the same look, and looks are fleeting. So the thing about it is when you're usually talking about women that are single moms, what do we talk about? We talk about pre-30s, pre-40s. Because if you're dealing with a pre-30s, you might as well go to 20s. And then if we're doing, and then we're not even like, again, if dudes that have high economic value or have not even high economic value, they have economic value, social value, genetic value, however you want to quantify it, they can always deal with a chick that doesn't have kids. And that's what it's being compared against. You're talking about a perfect situation. Okay, well that dude, but I'm promise you, if a dude is saying it's attractive for him to get with a single mother, I'm talking about a relationship. We're not talking about fucking. We talk about getting to a relationship where you bind himself to you, then you're really kind of accepting that you're really not. I would tell a dude, real talk, if it's like that, then you really don't even need to be in the dating market like that. You need to focus on getting your shit together. What do you think about that?
I totally agree. And you have to think what the benefit is. So it's not going to be economic. It's not going to be financial. It's going to be some sort of social gain, social recognition. That's what he's really going for.
Like Russell Wilson to a certain extent. Or, no, technically, Kanye West wasn't in it. Well, that's what it's sold to me. I think that's bullshit, but that's what they say. But, anyway.
No, I think that's bullshit. I think it's bullshit, too. I look at that situation. I'm like, why? No. His wife totally won on that game. And he's in a bad position. But, oh, well, I'm not. That's for another podcast, right? So the why the man does it is not entirely understood. It's just that you have the society saying that there's going to be some sort of benefit. So if he does it, then in society he's looked at as being better. But the reality is that that's rarely happening, and he's wasting his resources, he's wasting his time, and for the most part, unless the woman actually makes it beneficial to him, where he actually comes out on top, then he shouldn't be there at all.
this is a perfect example. Like, even though this woman, it wasn't a single mom, when he got with her, if she would have been, this would have been a perfect example of somebody talking about the benefit. If you talk about Nick Cannon and Mariah Carey, I could see what that did with his career, but see, remember where she was. She's considered a legend, and but the reality is she didn't have kids. So and so, but that you could make, and remember, that's not a strong argument, because that's an exception argument. That's not a rule argument. So as a rule, if your woman is a representation of you, she's got, look, man, let's stop acting like there's all these fucking, any woman that is stunning as a single mother, like he's talking about, they can still get dudes, even though they got a kid. So they're not going to be out here needing the stock of single mothers in general to go up, because that's not affecting them like that, because those are those exceptions, and dudes are treating them as kind. The problem is that what they're trying to sell is that this is like, well, 20% of single mothers. Like, this is a viable pool. And that's bullshit. And I'm not saying all single mothers are bad. I'm not saying that. But the question is, if you are at a certain level, and I say at a certain level, and you're trying to look at women kind of like you're putting a team together or somebody or whatever, the reality is what you have as a woman that has money is not going to overtake a younger woman. It's just not. But whatever.
You're not even allowing this conversation to happen. You're just already saying, nope, it's bad, and no, and it's not going to work. And it's like, she's trying to get a point across, and Myron is like, stop cutting me off. And then he's like over the top with it.
Well, a lot of times, to be fair, it's not. Sometimes they be having legit, like out of 20 times, maybe one time, like 95% of the time, they be bullshit. Maybe one time Myron misfires on that, but out of like 20 times. But not the other 19, it's not that they got a point. What they're trying to do, they're trying to stay in the conversation because they're out of their depth, because they're used to dudes kissing their asses. They're used to what they are used to. And I'm not going to argue that Myron doesn't go over the top, but what they're really used to is they're not used to their shit being stress tested. They're not. Mm-hmm. And you know, somebody will be listening to this and say, well, you don't want to stress test your shit. Well, my thing is, I don't want to stress test it every day. If I'm coming, like, if you go to that show, you kind of have an understanding that we're going to have a conversation about relationships, and women are used to doing exactly what you see what Anna's doing right now. Anna is not being really stress tested. Anna is not, granted, this is a smaller channel. You want people to come on your show. I get that. But it's the same thing with that other chick with the Pascal show. These women want to be able to really come on shit and run roughshod. Like, and
and look at Anna. Look at Anna right here. Look at her. She is totally happy that she.
Oh yeah, look at the body language tells. She says, if only white guys were like this shit.
Right, exactly. So
this is why white women like black men.
Yeah, right. And she could just get other men like this. She's actually getting the social status and social clout right now.
And I can get great sex. Oh yeah, this will work.
Yeah. Oh yeah, exactly. And I'm looking at these guys like, you are shooting yourselves in the foot. You are promoting a system that is not beneficial to you. You guys are total idiots. But they don't understand it.
Well, to be fair, they can see, if you're trying to build a channel, this is Allende's gonna get up there. He won't get Fresh and Fit levels, but he'll get up there. He'll get up there for a couple of reasons, because he'll get up there. But and then Duke the Don, I don't know how big his channel is, but this is a good message if you're trying to get a general audience, because there's more goofy dudes out there than dudes that are really aware. And then like I said, I get where he's coming from, saying he's Nigerian, which just means he ain't growing up in the shit like we are.
And it's like,
I bet you he has a mom and a dad. I bet you, shit.
Do you not know anything about women? This is the way women communicate.
Thank you.
Talking at the same time and hear each other.
Thank you. When he's sitting there talking about your emotions or all the stuff,
he's not selling to women, though.
Stuff doesn't matter. I'm like, what do you, dude? If you don't understand, because
like, I'm looking at look at how, like, these responses, and look at how she looks. I wish I had my little arrow, like when I do screen share and shit. Like, look that smile, boy. Look at that. This is like, and I've taught my guys, like, if you talking shit and they smiling too much, chances are you need to in your head rethink what the fuck you saying, because
we're talking about emotional intelligence. So it's debunked. I'm like, look, I don't care if it was a journalist that made it. It's understanding the motivations behind people and why they do what they do. That's important.
Well, we do. Well, every show isn't like that, but in Red Pill in general, we spent 10 years. We understand their motivations, and quite frankly, women have told us their motivations. You know, like these women are not lying. Hell, there's book like.
For dealing with people. If you want to be successful, you're gonna need to understand what motivates people. But if you're
that nigga put the K point at that point, boy, that shit nigga turbocharged. This nigga powering up.
Fucking brick. That's what Myron strikes me as, a goddamn.
Well, Myron's not the most social nigga. That's true. I'm gonna start calling him nigga by the way, because I get tired of calling it. But he ain't the most social dude. But that doesn't absolve those females. Remember, he's got OnlyFans bitches on there. So let's not defend the quote unquote supposed conversation they'll have at the same time saying that we need to have better women on, but then act like the women that are there are able to have this conversation. You know, it's kind of like, look, I can talk to a porn star about things, but at the end of the day, you are still a porn star. I'm not going to say, I don't got to say it to your face and remind you and be a dick about it or asshole about it, but you expect the audience to kind of understand full context. Now, maybe people are too dumb to do that. Because remember, DJ Vlad original interviews were with porn stars. So, anyway.
I don't know how you were able to be such a huge player like you're trying to fucking play it out to be. That doesn't make any sense.
Dude, do you know how? Listen, they would have never been able to get off the ground with that concept without. Even if they took the concept and just like get rid of this nigga immediately, it would have never worked.
That might be true.
Because the women would.
But at the same time, they may not have grew as fast. But like that's also not the core of what's been. There's other aspects to that too. But yeah.
Come on.
That's a good point.
They might have, but see, you gotta also ask this: they would have got the other dude. The other dude that has been talking shit too. They would have got him, so they would have got somebody. But he said he came up with the idea. I don't know if that's true or not. Whatever.
I had to really convince the women. I had to really butter them up. Even the episode where I put the two OnlyFans girls on with the these from the roommates, and then Kevin Samuels called on for another amazing and viral moment. Them broads got up and walked the fuck out. But if you notice, those broads came back and sat their little asses down.
I noticed that,
and they toned it down a little bit. You know,
okay, can I just say one thing before you say that? So, because I'm going to say what I thought the audience was, what I just being an audience member. I thought
this Cape session is brought to you by.
It was a whole clout thing, because that's how they kind of, when they came back, I'm like, oh, so is it the clout thing? But go ahead.
So what I did was I stepped out in the hallway and I said, listen, this is what you both gonna do. You're gonna take your ass back inside, sit down, and listen more than you talk.
So you threaten him like a criminal.
And the blonde shorty said to me, why? So I'm supposed to just go in there and I'm supposed to humble myself? I said, what's in there right now? There's a room full of men in their mid-30s who are either already extremely successful or on their way to success. And then when this guy that you don't know called in, what did we all do? We all gave him the floor. We deferred to him. You don't know who Kevin Samuels is, but we know who Kevin Samuels is.
I think he's talking. Oh, I remember he's talking about those bitches is talking about we're OnlyFans models and da. We make X amount of dollars. Yeah, OnlyFans almost turned all that bullshit off. But yeah, okay, I remember that call too. Here's my thing though. It doesn't. I'm gonna keep it real with you. It doesn't. And this is the thing that I would say. You're talking about manhood, but the truth is, it don't fucking matter if you know they're on their way. See, there's a certain baseline level of respect a man is supposed to have just as a human being. See, man, I don't sit here when I hold the door open for women. If I'm going to a grocery store or whatever, or going into a restaurant, I don't sit there, oh, this is a fat bitch, let it go. I don't do that, because in the South, that's just what you do. You don't really look if they're black, white, whatever. You do it, you hold it, you say thank you. And the reality is, a lot of these women, and this is another thing I wanted to talk about too, that the women have been taught in the West that their respect for you is supposed to be predicated on two things. Number one, what they can do to you, or what they can do for you. Or the third thing is if they're sexually attracted to you. And you see this the most in the black community, where black women, if they're not sexually attracted to you, they that's where your manhood is. You could be completely not sexually attracted to somebody, but if they are a man, you're supposed to treat them like that. What does that mean? That does not mean be submissive. That doesn't mean kiss their ass, but that means treat them like a human fucking being. And you have women out here that are really trying to sell the idea, I don't have to treat you like a human being unless A, I need something from you, B, I think it's a credible thing that you might do something to me, or C, I want to fuck you. And so now these women are not even able to have relationships with men, even outside of that paradigm, even to the point where a lot of these women can't even have like social relationships with other women because they don't understand how to act and comport themselves outside of that dynamic. What do you think about what I said?
I totally agree. I totally agree with you, and this is one of the reasons why, in particular, Western women, but in particular the ABW, the liberal ABW, in particular, I don't even communicate with them. I just look at them and say, "Look, you're not on the menu. I know how you think. I know what you're doing. Okay, so you're not going to be in the room. I'm not going to recognize your existence." And that's like the easiest way of dealing with it. You just say, like, "Hey, I'm done. You're not a part of the group."
And to be fair, I've seen dudes do this same shit. Like there's a woman by the name of Erica Shauna Williams. She makes almost 6 figures a month. Like, and I'm talking about in business, like trucking stuff, as well as like her internet stuff. So, and motherfuckers will look at, oh, well, she looks like this, or she's this. I'm like, yo, that's not the point. I didn't put her in front of you for you maybe to fuck her. And it's other women, even Love Dory, like these are people that are doing good things. And this is why I jumped on the dudes too. But the women do it as well. And then they start looking like, where all the good men at? They've avoided you because they understand. And then you wonder why there's a brain drain in the Black community, why nobody is really trying to deal with you. Because then I'll ask you, what do people, take a guy like you, what do you get from helping? Like, oh, well, they need to help these Black boys. Okay, what does he get? Because you can't say Black men control the community. So you can't say this is where this gynocracy thing I keep saying is. Because if Black men don't control the community, you can't argue we should do it just to be responsible, to be good Black men for our people. You can't argue that because we don't control it. And I would say you show me anywhere else where men do not control or heavily control or influence their community where they do all this shit just to be doing it. And nobody can say that. And I've asked women, is the Black community a patriarchy, matriarchy, gynocracy, or something I haven't said yet? Most Black women in America always say, they usually say it's a patriarchy, or they'll try to say, no, they'll try to say it's a failed patriarchy, or they'll try to say it's a matriarchy, or they might say it's something, and they don't want to say really what it is. I'm like, well, if it's a failed patriarchy, when did it fail? When did it fail? No. And they can never tell me when it failed.
Yeah, so I agree with this. And basically, one of my points I think about this is that you're having Henry and high-value Black men who are patriarchs in nature. Those guys recognize the situation and they're dating out because it's easier for them to integrate. As a patriarch, it's easier for them to integrate with other women.
Yeah, so it's a cultural. It's more of a cultural alignment thing.
Right. Yeah, they're going right along with it, and then from there, a different, like, Black patriarchal society is actually going to be able to be created. So you have this group of women who, actually a large group of ABWs, who are entirely matriarchal in nature. No matter what they say, it's matriarch. It's pure matriarch. And they're going to sit and watch this brain drain happen. And it's like, it won't be like huge. I mean, it'll be like 25% of brain drain that's going to happen. Of these top men,
it's already been happening. That's the thing. See, we start like it's gonna start. Like this is out of the crack era, and the reason why I want to call y'all, I'll put some links in the background. But BGS has done some excellent work on this. He's talking about the village wife. He's talking about African kinship networks. He's really mapped out a lot of what women are doing now, the history of what they're doing. Like even Dr. Tiasan Johnson was talking about Black female satellite groups, where what you're seeing is Black women are just networking with other Black women, and then they're raising these kids, these boys, and then men are like interchangeable. But see, here's the problem. Men of value are not going to do that because they're going to ask the question, outside of pussy, what do I get? Because it ain't like they getting easy access to pussy. It's not like it's just you laying down and you just getting it. What dudes still have to work for it. So dudes are just gonna be like, yo, if it's a sexual access problem, then I can just deal with another group that's gonna appreciate it, and handle that. And then you have to only deal with certain dudes that are bottom class dudes. Meaning it's not that they're bad guys, but either they're not gonna be motivated. And these could be dudes that are genetically on point, but because women have fucked them so much, their motivation is not there as much. And this is what a lot of dudes run into, where if they get easy pussy too early, then what's going to happen is their motivation is not there. Like BGS has talked about that with some of his family members as they're coming up. They lose that motivation because they got it too easy because maybe they were certain height and stuff like that. So they don't like, you know, you see the dudes, the white tee or the beater, and they be like, well, I'm getting buns though, because that does fuck with you. And this is actually other groups know how to do this in order to control black men if they're willing to throw their women at you.
No, I very much agree with you on this one. Yeah, this is correct. Let's go back to this one point you said. So this matriarch, what the matriarchal situation, again, this is I think what BGS is also stating, is that the women can get pregnated by anyone, like any of the best men.
Yep, and multiple men. Yep.
Right. They don't know who the father is necessarily. And then the village, which really means the men with the most resources, the most intelligence, like somebody like me, would be the ones raising the kids. And so she gets the best of both worlds, right? And she is basically socializing the men, making them into interchangeable objects. And I sit back and I was looking at it like, yep, that's I understand.
And that's what Allende is essentially talking about with the stepfather thing. And because he doesn't, and we also prove this because there's a link, and I'm gonna share it in the private chat. It's a guy that, you know, he's on my channel. He's on a couple other channels, but he's a staple of my channel as well. And he basically wrote a post on Facebook that basically said that the only way I would date a single mother. Now, keep in mind, he didn't say marry. He said even date or consider one. Just to be fair as to what he said, he wouldn't even, unless she gave up the kid, and he said give up the rights to the kid, he wouldn't even consider it. And dude, this post, and now we can not agree with 100% of everything he said, and it'd be like, okay, I understand some of the nuances of it, but maybe people wouldn't word it that way. But this post, as of now, has 12,000 shares and 6,000 comments. And you see the picture of the dude that posted it. And it was actually in a Kevin Samuels fan group. Yeah, it's 12,000 shares and 6,000 comments. And not only did black women lose their mind, black men lost their mind. And a lot of black men would say, well, you might as well, you just don't date single mothers. But then you got Andy on the other hand saying, well, somebody got to take care of these kids. Well, no, that's after the fact. The problem is a sexual selection problem. Meaning the person that needs to take care of these kids need to be, and it said it. He said it at the end. If you are not willing to do that, then you don't really want to be it. You don't care. You care about your seed more than you care about being with me, which means you need to go be with the dude you had a kid with. And see, women, and as far as I'm concerned, and this goes back to Anna. I'm be like, Anna, you're not a retard, and I'm gonna say it just like that. She seems like she is not a dumb woman, a fairly intelligent woman. We can make that assumption. I'm sick of y'all talking about these motherfuckers are turning into Michael Myers after you let them nut in you. It ain't like you fucked them the first time and he nutted. You're not gonna tell me like dudes really don't hide this bullshit anymore because negative traits actually attract women. You know, so this idea that dudes are just pretending to be nice guys and then they just turn into monsters is bullshit. And
bullshit, 100% bullshit.
And if you're not gonna be honest, here's my thing. If you're not going to be honest about what really, I don't even talk her situation. I'm talking any woman. If you all are not going to be candid, then I already know you're running game. And if you're running game, I don't need to engage with you with that. I'm just going to do what's in my best interest. So if it doesn't make accounting sense in my best interest, I'm not going to do it. That is what it is. And women don't want that. What women want are guys to be socialized to basically think that, to basically accept some shit that in any other situation would. This is why they don't like dudes traveling either, by the way, because it's not about fucking. They know dudes are going to see women operate a different way, and then they're going to get some fucking ideas that they don't want you to get, which is why black women don't even want niggas leaving their county, to be honest with you.
No, I mean, you're entirely correct. Yeah, I agree. Wow, that was good.
Yeah, so let's go.
Yeah. So a grown man.
And remember, none of these niggas understand that. And this is not a unique black issue. What BGS has showed is a lot of women will operate this way given the conditions. It's just other men are not like, they're not in the unique situation we're in where both of their hands are tied behind their back. This is why you see variations of this, but it's not necessarily off the chains. And by the way, both of these guys, you know, it's like, okay, you're in the United States, but you don't understand this, but you want to act like, well, the real issue is you don't understand it. It's not that what we're saying is crazy because you've never looked at it, which is why they're always blindsided by the statistics. But anyway, let's go.
I got their own motherfucking money is deferring to him. Maybe you should get in there and humble yourself too. You're ruining a really big moment and you don't even know it. Ooh, yeah. Ladies, this way.
Which again, hold on, I just gotta add that Anna didn't give a fuck who Myron was when she knew he had 10,000 Instagram followers, which is not like extreme. That's not small. That's something the way it's like, okay, that you could do something with that because you don't know how deep his influence really is with that 10K. But she didn't give a fuck. She gave a fuck when somebody else told her what it was. Same thing with Kevin. They didn't know who the fuck Kevin was, and they didn't even have enough game to observe how the other men were responding to him. At least from what they saw, it took Allende, somebody they were probably sexually attracted to tell them what the fuck it was in order for that tells you everything about who they are. That tells you everything because motherfuckers ain't just calling into their show like that, So I mean, but see, this is the type of shit. So we're not gonna then say, well, they need to understand. No, they've already outed themselves as to who they are in that moment. You teaching them how to pretend is not gonna help. This is why white women stay pretending, and then they're getting smart. Now they're getting dumb about it. But white women are the queens of being coy about shit. Because they were taught you don't get what you want by just being a straight up bitch. You got to have the leverage. And then this is why these white dudes are getting fucked in divorce court.
Yep, 100%. Yeah, that's entirely correct. And they have this idea of them being perfect, blah, blah, blah.
No.
And they're able to really exploit it very hardcore. And that's part of why MGTOW and the Red Pill needed to come around to show what the nature is to get rid of this angelic crap and throw
which
it
is
out
why
and
I
deal
say
with them as they are.
which is why I say don't go red pill for black women, only to remain blue pill for non-black women, because non-black women run plays too. Black women only know how to blitz, but these other women got a deeper playbook because they're men. It's a little bit narrow. So
See what I mean? So it's like
that's how you talk. That's how you do it.
No, that's not how you do it. Understand, nigga, you couldn't have said that shit. That shit worked Allende, but you couldn't have calmed them down necessarily. They knew they liked how he looked. They knew Fresh and Fit had money. So let's stop. Cut the bus. How you do it? Shut up.
No, you got to constantly play cleanup, and it's
wow.
like, and I have to hold them up the whole.
Make sure y'all hit them cash apps. This is some good shit.
Time
and this bitch won't stop cheesing. Yeah, she's back to being a bitch again. I'm sorry.
Keep on knocking shit over, and it's unnecessary stuff. It's like, my dude. So what he lets me know, what was obvious to me about him from the beginning, is that you're empty on the inside. You haven't developed self-confidence, right? You're not secure within yourself. That's why you're always demanding respect from people, because you don't respect yourself. You're not used
any
to
people. Any people.
You got something you want to say? Because
that's some bullshit. That's because you respect yourself that you act that way. That's it. He's trying to flip it around and say the guy is not correct.
And look at how the dude
is actually
that cheerleading, yo.
Yeah,
that's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at the responses, yo.
Full person can smell that a mile away, man. Like I sniffed that. I'm like, oh yeah, for sure.
So if a girl interrupts you and your first instinct is that she's disrespecting me, I'll put this bitch in her place. It's like,
I mean, a lot of that I take is a narrative of the show. I mean, I've watched a lot of replays with Donovan Sharp, so that's the extent of what I'm gonna see the show, and Byron don't be popping off like just out of like Byron be giving them chances. I've seen it, so stop acting like now we ain't gonna talk about the alcohol shit, but at least if you take that off the equation, it ain't like he say, well, hell, I'm gonna keep it real, and this ain't defending Myron. Kevin is on these chicks a hell of a lot harder than Myron is. You know, and that's one of the arguments that Myron was really trying to make when he was quote unquote talking shit about Kevin, saying it's easy to do that shit and like when you just press a fucking remote control and knock a ball, but I got to deal with them face to fucking face. So I mean, just to give it a little bit of levity, and this isn't me defending Fresh and Fit. I'm just saying what my observation is on it. It is what it is.
Why are you so? Hold on. Why are you so defensive? And if you're so dominant and you're so masculine, why are you so easily offended by a female?
Because high value men are common and attractive women.
But that's not necessarily true. Because see, here's the thing: if Myron is 6'4", I'm 5'5". So what motherfuckers? The first thing they gonna say is that I'm short. So they're gonna give Myron levity because he's tall. So again, a lot of these shits can't be told shit. So what the fuck you gonna do? You just gonna let them come in there and disrespect your ass? Is that what you gonna do? And the thing is, here's the issue. The issue is that the question I would ask Allende and I would ask Duke. I'm saying, how many conversations are you willing to have where it's a high probability these women are gonna pop the fuck off? That's my thing. How many of these because most dudes do is they stay away from those conversations. They just don't have them as topics. Because in another situation, I'll give you a perfect example. When you would look, what's that chick that I call her the dumb bitch, the one that he got pregnant. Now, when the Pascal show, I don't know if you're familiar with that show, but when he had her on, this is the main thing people get mad about when it comes to the other chick, the Miss Cheeks chick. This was the main show they were talking about. Because it was Jessica X for the old chick. It was Anna was like on her own thing, and then it was Miss Cheeks was like Pascal's show. And you could tell that Miss Cheeks expected to be treated a certain way because when she got on the lead attorney and Pascal started talking different, she called that out, saying that's not what you were saying. You were basically letting me say whatever the fuck I want. So now you want to ask questions, and now he want to act like, well, you know, I was running the show. No, nigga, I get you were trying to make it so because if you are known as your grill people, then people are not gonna come to your show. I understand as a content creator, so I'll give people levity on that. But at the same time, y'all be staying away from controversy. You know, even when it's it's necessary to ask the right questions, and if they don't want to be asked questions, because then it is what it is. Now the argument's being made that you leave the audience to basically make the determinations they make. But whatever, let's go.
That's what I'm trying to say. Dude, bro, let me tell you something. As a man, majority of things that women would say to me that could be offensive, I would never take it personal. I don't take it personal, bro. It's just not a big deal.
That may be true
because you know who the hell you are. You're confident in yourself. If someone walked up to me,
that's not the only reason though. Like you don't see, this is where dudes fuck up. You don't let women just walk up to you and disrespect you. And then you say because I'm confident I am. Because there's certain social consequences and shit like that. It depends on the situation, but it ain't no. Because you got bitches that like, and I'm not saying all of them because like I said that it just depends.
And said, "Hey, guy, you're stupid." All right, whatever. Sure, that's your opinion.
But if you get more personal with it and you start talking about like you're a fucking Nigerian scammer and you say it over and over and over again real loud so everybody can hear it, you might react differently.
Yeah, buddy. Keep it moving.
And not only that, another thing that he doesn't realize is 98%.
I mean, remember, people talk like y'all saw that video of that Steelers game where that woman hit that dude and he knocked both of their ass out. These are white people. So we say that shit, but come on now, we're in the West.
The time, that's a shit test and you failing it, buddy. You big old F on there, buddy.
Speaking of which, Hunter, I got this question for you. So
yeah, but certain women ain't even on the level to even be shit testing you like that. That's really is. And again, you got to remember the type of women they're bringing on there. They're used to being able to throw pussy at a dude or other dudes being a simp. They're not really used to being challenged by nobody. And I'm not. And some of them women, you know, like there's a couple of them where I like, yeah, they got something to say. And there's been a couple of times where Myron has kind of overstepped. And it's kind of like, well, I'm going to be right 90% of the time. So 10%, well, it damn sure don't matter to his own audience. So why should I care? Which I can understand that from a mathematical standpoint. But he doesn't run that show to have a dialogue. That's not how he runs the show. I'm not saying that's right or wrong. He doesn't run the show for that purpose. So understanding that, once you understand that, you understand that. Like, yeah, and I don't think his people are really listening to him for a dialogue. In my opinion,
no. What they're looking at is the questions he's asking, and the women are answering. For the most part, the women are aligned, and so he's able to show how they're lying. That's actually
that makes sense. Being if he was an agent, that's how. Yeah, and then because that's how Donovan will replay a lot of their stuff. And so what you're doing is you're putting pressure on them and seeing how they act when the shit is. It's not necessarily about cussing their ass out and getting them told. It's about saying, okay, if I put her in a social vice, how does this woman respond? Because they're used to lying under comfort. Can they really do that same shit under stress in a controlled environment? And I understood that's what they were doing. Now, like I said, you add the alcohol shit, that changes the dynamics of that. But I'm gonna leave that alone. But yeah.
So when you're reading,
because that to me, you corrupted the experiment at that point.
Correct.
That's my
yeah.
So then it becomes okay. Now you're doing more entertainment, but this is what you say. You say the real shit is on Patreon. Here's the thing: Patreon is a paid service, so it would make sense the real shit would be on it versus a YouTube channel designed to do what? Exposure. So from a business standpoint, you know, it is. Is it what I would do? No, but I'm just a nigga, so I'm just that's as far as that goes. I'm just a nigga with 5,000 subs, so you know, I'm not about to tell you know
the
that's
game,
why,
all right, the text game that
that's
he
why
was messaging you right now.
That's why I always say people can criticize all they want to, but the results are the results. Well, you know, he's lying to these people and they're impressed. Well, these motherfuckers are not that stupid.
Yeah.
And he's got an international audience too. They're not that fucking dumb.
Which was horrible. It was horrible.
If he would have said that, so if
yeah, those texts were bad. No, don't lie. I don't want to hear nothing from her with the text because at the end of the day, you came back. The truth is, as bad as he was on the text, if Myron would have once Anna started coming back, because honestly, technically Myron shit test. Look, it was lame what he said and how he said it, but at the end of the day, she came back. She did the story shit and realized he didn't care. Which actually, that was her shit testing him to belittle him. It didn't work. And then she came back, started arguing, which means you were talking to him. Now, if he would have reset the conversation at that point, said, you know, I'm sometimes an asshole. It is what it is. Let's restart. Can we restart? And you would have went into that, then he would have got your ass. And that's where he kind of fucked up. Because Anna was coming back to him. Who does this have?
Right.
Yeah, so he nagged her ass. So even though he fucked up in some of the parts, overall, you still came back. Like, that's the thing.
Right.
You still came back, and that's what's important. And the thing is, he may not have gave a fuck at that point. But if he would have did that, so yeah. And that's why she withheld certain shit.
If you would have said that, just be in your female mind. Assuming if you said that to any random girl, you think that would have been anyone would have had a chance? Like he would have had a chance with any girl with the kind of messages or even the style or the tonality behind.
I just answered that. She can't not see. This is where she's about to cap. This is what I don't like. I don't like niggas. I don't care 8Os, 9-8Os. And y'all 9-8Os motherfuckers are bad for this shit with white bitches because it's like y'all ain't never seen a white bitch before. And include you motherfuckers from the UK, even though you're around them too, where it's like you clowning the dude, but the reality is, the truth is, she came back. She came back mad. And I'm telling you, I've done it. I'll be like, yeah, I'll fuck bitches that's called me a misogynist. Because, you know, so it ain't like she just moved on. She felt some type of way. He got in her feelings.
Yeah.
So
yeah, this is the fundamental red pill truth. When you act like a jerk, you keep on having this behavior, you're probably going to get the girl. And don't blame the guy, because for most of the guys who do this, they were the blue pill, very nice guy, and they didn't get anything, and they had to learn to do this. And the women are validating this behavior.
Now, yeah, and Allende can get away with that because he's got pre-qualification on his side. Duke and Don, not so much.
Is that something that they were like, oh shit, I guess I'd fuck him, right?
And again, remember, if it was that obvious, she ended the post right there. See, she didn't want motherfuckers to see when she went back. You know, because then it's like, oh, you're sitting here bothering him. He told you off, but you came back to him, which means, yeah, like,
young men, pay attention. FNF stands pay attention. You want to talk about? Go ahead.
That's why I posted it to anonymously to my story, because I could not, like, I thought, okay, if he's a dating expert and he's talking to a female like this, maybe there are women that this works for. So that's why I was like, okay.
It worked on you. It worked. He just didn't close it out. I promise you. Hey, when you was cussing, if he would have reset that conversation, hey, I'll bring you out here, blah, 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 you would have fucked him. I believe that. I believe that. If for nothing else, because I'm not saying Myron has game. But what Myron has done is he's built like a social. I don't know if he does or doesn't. That's not what I'm here to judge. But he's built a status that you treated him completely different. It didn't matter because he wasn't talking that shit in the comment section before you came back the first time once you realized who he was. So if anything, it was the status. And when we tell people they need to self-improve, status is a part of it anyway.
I'm gonna put this on my story. And it was like over 400 women saying like, I can't believe this.
Wow.
And women say that doesn't matter.
Yeah, my following, of course, they're probably going to side with me, but they didn't know who
exactly
he was. And on a side note, most of my following
this is also before you came back in the text messages too. The stories came. That was the mid thing. You came back after the fact. So after you got all that validation of Myron was a lame and shit, you still felt some type of way. So that makes it worse.
It's female now because I don't post pictures in thongs and like ratchet fitness content. I post.
That doesn't matter. Dudes can use their imagination.
More like
that don't make no difference.
But
thank you, Ayende. Thank you. Trust me, you're showing enough where dudes can use their imagination if that's what they like. I'm not gonna front like the shoulder arm shit. That if women had that, because a lot of women be getting too much weight. I like that, not too muscular. You put a quarter on it, it'll bounce, but not too much. It's a good look. The problem is, she always got that fucking bullshit on her hair. Like, what the fuck is wrong with your hair, man? I'd be looking at that.
Yeah.
And she know that. Stop bullshitting.
I just mean all the females were commenting, like saying they were blown away, and I don't think that's just because they're following me. I think it's because females.
Yeah, it is just because they're. That's a big part of it.
Don't talk to women like that.
Well,
women, like, number one, you don't never ask women how to fuck them. They're not gonna tell you. So a lot of the dudes, they because the point is, and here's what you don't understand: what most of these guys that are incels, or whether incel or let's say green, they don't understand how to get an emotional response out of a female and what the emotional responses mean. So they see a woman as being angry as that may be a bad response, but so what they do is they walk away from it, not understanding that a woman, like, shit, I'm told I'm short all the time. If I were to go on women and talk about, I've literally had women say I'm 5'7", 5'8" in their mind. Like, literally women say that they think I'm this height or that height, and that's how I know they like me, because in their mind they can't see themselves dating somebody my height. So they literally, like, women do dumb shit like that. So you have to. This is why I brought up what I brought up with Fresh, because if you can take the hits and not have a lot of recoil with it, then that's like one of the most important assets we have. And like people say, oh, well, you were talking all that shit before. Most of the shit I was talking about with Fresh and Fit had to do with how I made the manosphere look and shit like that. This is not me defending. I'm just saying what it is. But
young men, pay attention to this. Go ahead, Ian.
Oh God.
Let me interject something in there real quick, okay? Because rules are designed so that everybody doesn't do something. They're not designed so that nobody does something. Right? Now, I'm about to give some good / bad advice. Right? I told these motherfuckers, stop fucking with the girls you bring on the podcast. Because first of all, I'm taking offense to it. Because I feel like, really, nigga, I'm doing all this damn work just for you to try to get this chick in your bed. So let me apologize to Anna, because I feel partly responsible for Myron's behavior as far as leveraging the podcast to get the women, because it's like I'm over here giving him the facade. Like, I'm over here giving him all of the content he needs to create this facade. And then it's like, there's a moment in time where I can honestly say all the chicks he was hooking up with were chicks that I would bring on the podcast. Now, I'm not bringing them on there for that. But what he's doing is he's playing the numbers game. This is something that we used to do in the club.
What did I say? We're Fresh.
All these chicks are here, so I got to be able to leave at least one.
And to be fair, what you saying in the Patreon, at some point you get good at finding what your niches are. So if you play the number game at first, you start to find out which women more gravitate towards you, and based on the ones that like. So you get good, but most people never get there because they're too afraid to start. And so, yeah.
Right? So if you just got 1 or 2 girls on there, you don't even have a 50-50. It's much lower than 50-50 that you're going to bring one home. If I bring 10 girls on the podcast, you get one of them.
Yeah.
So I kind of feel partly responsible for that, because I'm facilitating the
behavior
scenario for this to take place. It's almost like I'm guilty by proxy.
No, these hoes are making a decision. Let's cut the bullshit, Ayende.
I don't drink. I don't give these bitches.
But of course, men taking responsibility for what a bitch does. Look at this smile. Yeah.
It's like it's my idea. Well, then when they be like, yo, I need to see the girls and so get them some drinks. I'm like, You know,
No, we were actually just talking about that before you came on. And Anna, props to you.
And see, this is the type of shit that would be presented as, well, red pill bad, this good. This is a false choice.
You know, for being not because she didn't know what the idea behind it. But my theory was, all right, because obviously we're talking about bringing some quality ladies on there. Now, is it
Myron told you what the fuck he was trying to do? So he didn't wait for you to get. I would have waited till you got to the show because presents and stuff like that. So even in Anna's situation, that doesn't matter.
drinks used as
She was given that decision. And the truth is, I think Anna would have been down personally. I think a lot of these white bitches, especially if you're a black dude, like sometimes they may feel some type of way. I bet if it was a white dude doing that, she may not have popped off as much.
I wouldn't say diffusion, but the kind of
This was like a Jason Capital.
Girls a little bit off balance. Okay, so guys, this is somebody that's behind the scenes. Okay, this is not me because I'm just these all. Go ahead, let them know.
Let me tell you something. Absolutely, and I'm not condemning them for it. If anybody condemns them for that, you're a damn hypocrite. Because guys are always looking for the advantage. You need to go to the nightclub. The first thing you say,
Exactly.
you go to dinner with.
Exactly.
You say, you want a glass of wine? So stop. I personally don't drink, and I don't encourage it. But I'm not gonna sit here and condemn guys who are trying to loosen chicks up with drinks. I'm sorry. And
I don't do that.
from my personal experience,
I never did that ever.
There's a lot of women that they won't loosen up rather do. Like they want the drink. They're like, I need a drink. I'm like,
That's true. That's true.
You know what I'm saying? And I don't feel like I need to rely on it. I don't feel like I need that to get you a little so that my mojo, my game starts working. Nigga, my mojo game works at the gym at 3 p.m. So I don't need you to be tipsy, right? So what I'm saying about good advice and bad advice at the same damn time, if I was in Myron's position with Anna, the way I would have played it is, number one, you shouldn't be trying to hook up with the girls on the show anyway. But
Don't shit where you eat.
Right. But hold on, let me tell you why she's a little bit different now. Okay, number one, she has an equal amount to lose. She's a businesswoman. She got her own little thing going on. She's an entrepreneur. Okay. Then the next thing is, you got to get on a plane to see her. She got to get on a plane to see you. So the way I would have played it is I would have played it straight professional until the work was done. I would have coordinated everything. I would say, listen.
I agree with that. But the thing about it is she's still a white female. So, I mean, you got to watch out for that because you never know. And so, but the thing, she's a white female and she's a single white female that's a single mom. And any female that got a motherfucker that's threatening to kill him, I don't care. That's a look on you. You're not a victim because at some point that type of I didn't know he was like that. Well, your pussy knew.
Say your friends in town. You need to go. Hotel room. We can work all of this out. I'm looking forward to the interview. What are some points that you want to hit? What do you want to talk about? I would have played everything.
But I agree with what Ayinde is saying overall.
Straight up, aye, Captain, right? And then when it was done, that's when I kind of would have said, hey, listen, afterwards, I'd like to get a bite to eat with you. I kind of want to go over some things with you. And that's when I would have went into that.
And see, this is where you fucking up because basically you proving what I said. You prove you were open to it. Like Anna, she don't understand that. Yeah. Exactly.
Right there. Yeah.
There you go.
Do you understand what I'm saying? So
And that would work probably.
I was gonna.
Did you see what the fuck she said?
Mm-hmm.
That would have worked probably because she already sized Myron up like on his Instagram and probably said maybe she like look but it ain't enough for 10,000. You see what I'm saying? So Instagram followers. I told you, and I said I said this at the beginning. I said this even in the other videos while I was jumping on their ass. I said it would have worked the way he would. And did I not say just now that if he would have doubled back, he probably could have reset that conversation? A lot of dudes don't even know they could do that because it's like, no, you coming to me now. I wouldn't have said for him to go out of his way and apologize, but if she's coming to you and get mad, she's just venting. I'd be like, look, I understand what you're doing. My bad. Let's reset. Can we start over? Because at this point, she coming to you. You ain't got nothing to lose. And if you say no, well, fuck it. If you would have exposed the text message, I'd be like, yeah, I did this. She came back, and I said, I offer an apology or a reset. She said, fuck me. But she came back to me first. She came back to the fucking chair. She came back to the throne. And see, she don't even understand it. And it's not for her to understand. Because if they understand it, they can compensate for it.
I was gonna ask, Don. I was gonna ask if that scenario hypothetically happened, would you have been open to it?
But here's the thing, though. Go ahead.
You see how she volunteering. I'm not reaching.
Go ahead. You go ahead.
I would have totally accepted that invitation and probably gone out to dinner. I'm not saying anything else would have happened.
Of course, because now you'll look desperate. But the fact that you, after all Myron supposedly did to you, the fact that all his people did to you, you see, women, if you wanted to throw one last shade at him to say, oh, he's corny, he's this, he's that. Notice she ain't doing that.
No.
I very much so read character, and
That's a lie.
Sensitive to character and
that's a lie because you came back after the. Oh boy.
Everything. So one dinner conversation with Myron, I would have been like, oh, after that show, I would have been
fuck
like,
this
oh.
shit.
Yeah,
but see, if he would have did what Allende was talking about, you wouldn't have detected all of that because of the professional. You wouldn't have detected all that because Myron's fucked enough of these chicks before with you not catching that. So you ain't that much smarter than the average bear because you're a single mom with a nut ball for a baby daddy. Like, so you ain't that like, I can see Theo. You how many times you talk about she can read character? Yeah, she's saying how many women that got kids where they say you don't get abortion, I'm fucking 6 feet in your ass.
Dude, the women get it wrong so often that when they say they can read character, they know what they're doing. I just walk the other way. I'm like, I'm done. Yeah. I'm done with them.
But no,
they have no idea what they're talking about.
Yeah, it's like character. Like y'all don't even choose the fathers. Okay, so let ask you a character. This is why I ask a character. Do you choose the father for your children? And these women act like they don't know the answer. Like I asked them a fucking trigonometry, like an Einstein equation. I'm like, yo, like, because really that's the fact. Because I know what you do. What am I doing? You're thinking of the right answer, but you honestly don't know because you've never pondered it. Because women that are cultured the right way, they know the right answer. You're thinking of a lie, but that's a Chinese finger trap question because you don't really know what the right answer is, but how you say it. Because if you say you do choose the father for your kids, then you're accountable to the niggas you fucking. If you say you don't, then you look stupid as fuck. So this is
exactly.
So really, if I need to. And it's a good date question because it's not really an evasive question. You can't say I'm like interrogating you. It's something that I can simply, especially as a guy that don't have kids, so I can say yes, and you be like, well, well, this is why I separate this from this. Anyway, let's go.
That's the thing. I'm not.
But like, you look at her body language. She's jumping. She's moving. She was down. Remember, Myron's 6'4". Let's stop acting like these. Come on.
No, she wants some.
And let's stop acting like these white bitches in Europe be fucking these Muslims too. So let's not act like that would have been an impediment. And he's half and half. You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
No, she would have gone for it.
Yeah, like she's jumping up way to it. She ain't even fronting.
Right.
And because she think what she's doing is she's making him look lame, like he's so lame. And I said this on my channel that it's unforced. He's making unforced errors, but he's this guy to be cheap. But you gotta understand, these people, you don't know. I haven't gone through all of their fucking social media. I've just gone their back end stuff. I've just gone through some stuff. So you don't. Like, a lot of these people don't understand the power of marketing, and they don't understand the power of like the customer life value. And if you know who your people are, not to say it's got to be, because a lot of people think it's got to be race. It doesn't have to be. Like, that's one demographic: age, race, religion, economic level. But if you know who your audience is, all you got to do is add to that, and then everybody else is supposed to say fuck them. And if they're looking at it from an outside looking in, this is why I didn't judge like the money they were getting and all of that. But I will say this: if people want to bitch about it later, I'll be like, you knew what the fuck you were buying. You were buying into them. So if you kept buying it, that's what you did. Because here's the thing: they're getting super chats. The super chats are only based on the content that they're presented at that time. And Theo, you said you had other reasons, but I ain't gonna say the money you gave it's not even necessary. But the point is, you have people when they super chat. When somebody super chats me, I'm not selling a product. This is after the fact. So even if you look at the super chat alone, that's a significant amount of money. So even if you want to say, well, the shit they're saying is bullshit, that's not what they're buying at that time. So it is what it is. But we're almost done.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm not talking about Myron in general. I'm just talking about that scenario. Because if you want to give yourself an opportunity to show your character, show your professionalism, show that you have some reserve, because women don't want to feel like you like that with every girl and you like that right away. Come on, bro. Because women are impulsive. Women are emotional.
Yeah, and if you got to pick and choose your battles. Like some women, you can't make them feel like a hoe until you get them in the bed. And Anna's probably to me is Anna. Well, first of all, I will say, like, when Myron said, "Oh, well, I know you to fuck my Mike Rashid and them. I know you down." So yeah, but the thing about it is, she doesn't know you though. So you're just a random motherfucker in the text messages. So that's different than if she could feel your presence in person. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
so that could
That's
still be true. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, you're exactly correct, and this is where, like I said under Jessica X, he needed to be a little more discreet. He needed to understand. He needed to do this a little bit better. But he was correct about her. Yeah, she definitely wanted it.
And that's why I believe that he could have reset that conversation. Now I wouldn't have said go and apologize, because now you're losing frame. Now you're putting her on a pedestal. But when she came back, I would have been like, oh, I'm about to do this just from an experiment. I'm gonna do this from an experiment, and then just. Because if she would have said, because at that point, like I said before, if she would have said, oh, look, he tried to apologize after you came back mad. So I tried to make it right. I tried to be a good dude and you exposed me. So you proved that you're the bitch that I knew you were. And if she would have came over, then he could say, hey, I treated this chick like she was a slut. And then after the fact, all I had to do was apologize. And I'm not even saying apologize. He shouldn't apologize. I'm just saying he should have said something like, let's start over. Something like that. Not saying I'm sorry. I'm not saying you should have said that. I'm just saying, you know what? Fine. I'll be an asshole. Let's start over. All right. Because, blah, 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 and then see where it goes. See, there's ways to do that in the way that you're not like putting yourself on her level. But you don't have to always. That's why I was saying when you talk about you're a high value, you should never tell a bitch you're a high value man. That shit is not necessary. And I'm not here to tell him about game, all of that. But even after he did something like that, she still came the fuck back.
That's correct. That's correct. That is very correct. So even after what could be considered to be a blunder of shooting a shot at a woman, she still hung around. He's still living rent free in her head. She's still thinking about him. Because think about it like me. Like, okay, so there were women out there like who like shoot their shot at me. I don't give them time of day. I just block them. Done.
Yeah. I mean, absolutely. I mean, and the thing is, it's so easy, and it's easy for her to do it, because here's the thing. She already had the text message. She already, quote unquote, exposed. She already got the social validation from her own audience. With all of that, she still came back.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So Myron's correct.
And then she knew she fucked up because she withheld all of that when she initially tried to, quote unquote, show the receipts. Which I really don't like. Just like how I don't like when Myron say shit and then shows the videos of what actually happened. I don't like when people do that, because it's like, stand on what you're doing. Now, granted, the stakes are high. It is what it is. But yeah, whatever. But yeah. So anyway,
why are you showing the same qualities? Now that would actually be flattering to a woman to know that, oh, so you thought I was attractive the entire time? Because she probably was already second guessing herself. Like, this guy hasn't made a pass at me. He hasn't this or that. But he had a sturdy handshake. He looked me in the eyes. He smelled good. And he was respectful. So
he had her before all of that, though. He had her just the following. Once she the switch she did was when she saw the Fresh and Fit following. And that tells you a lot about how Anna was. And I'm not saying Anna's a bad person, but my thing is you're being disingenuous. Like, she saw, she saw the pictures, because it wouldn't have just been the following. Because she saw the pictures, and she made a spot check assessment based on the pictures on Instagram, because they're in the fitness thing. Right. And then after that, you saw that. And then, like I said, the only thing he was really missing is presence. And that's the common denominator with a lot of the women that are already there, because they can see the presence. So I'm not saying, so he really, if anything, I don't know if he does this on DMs often, but he probably deviated. Also, Fresh is the networker. So Fresh is the one that's usually dealing with them from a network. So this makes sense, because this is not his skill set. But at the same time, they're partners for a reason. So there's got to be some things he does better than him. Whether he admits
so the reason why Fresh and Fit is so popular and advertised as much as it is because of Fresh. This is why I give him credit. I don't even care about his speech impediment, because he knows how to promote and market their message all over YouTube and social media. Myron's not doing this.
Yeah, and another thing too that folks have to understand, people could look at Fresh and say, well, if he can do it, then I can do it. And not in a bad way, but I mean, if you see somebody has a speech impediment and you're like, okay, he has the bravery to go out there and shit, that's like some motivational shit, really. And so a lot of people will buy into. That's why when people look at why did they defend this shit so fucking hard, you know, a lot of I can take a step back and then observe that for what it is versus a lot of people. They did the same thing with Kevin. Oh, well, you know, these people are just stands. Sometimes that is true. Sometimes that is what it is. But everybody, but a lot of influencers got stands. The Hive, Beehive, you know, Rihanna's got it. Everybody's got stands. You know, we know it. So you can't be like that's some unique shit. You know, anyway.
What I'm saying is that's not a guarantee that she's gonna sleep with you, hook up with you, or anything. But it's a guarantee you would have fucking maintained her respect.
And boom, I was gonna.
Myron didn't care about her respect though,
because you said respect.
He don't care about none of these bitches' respect, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing.
When you said it again,
because these bitches aren't giving him money. I mean,
that was the key thing because
shit, Myron don't even respect a lot of content creators that helped him out. You think he's scared about some bitches that's a single mom? Which, you know, she's a single mom. That Miss Cheeks is a single mom. Myron got a type. No, I'm playing, but you know,
that was just straight disrespect. And listener here had a question,
and that's another thing I'm gonna say too. A lot of these white women that are fit like that, a lot of times, a lot of normal white guys don't really do it for them. So black guys actually, I'm not saying they gonna marry one, but they enhance their pool. Because black dudes be in the gym like that. Not saying white dudes aren't, but the average white guy is not going to really want a white chick necessarily like her, especially if she got some feminist tendencies. Again, black men are willing to deal with women that got feminist tendencies because we default deal with it all the time. So I'm not saying she has to date black guys, but I'm saying she has to expand her pool a little bit more than a lot of white women might have to. Because she's gonna come out naturally as masculine. It don't matter what she say. She seems like in a certain, like she's a woman that's not gonna lay the fuck down. And white dudes don't like women that, I'm not gonna say they gotta lay the fuck down, but if it's kind of, you still gotta kind of know your kind of position a little bit. You know, black dudes don't really care about that as much. You know, I've seen it.
Yeah.
Especially with higher value white guys. They eat and like you go in them not the clubs, you know, the social clubs and shit. Oh, they don't play that shit at all. Go ahead.
No, I'm saying like white girls like this, kind of like with the hair that you're talking about, but that kind of figure. They're looking for the black guys in the gym. Like, I see this often. Yeah, they're eyeing them, and I'm like, yeah, okay, yeah. I mean, come on, man. Yeah, I know what's going on here. And they're kind of like thinking of a power trip. You know, I got this other guy who's different. Oh yeah, I'm like, yeah, I know who you are.
And again, we're talking about the sexual marketplace. We're not necessarily talking about, you know, happily ever after type shit. And white and see what black men fuck up is black men will think, oh, a white chick that'll fuck me is a white chick. They want to have babies with me. Sometimes that is what it is, but sometimes that ain't. You know, there's plenty of white women that they fucked black men and they went through the BBC and then they went and got a white guy that's an engineer, this, that. I got a couple of females I know that I went to school with that, and I'm not saying they went through all the black guys. They may have had 2 boyfriends that they fucked, you know, they went through at it with, and then they're with, you would never believe that. They're with white guys, white this, and perfect white shit. You know,
that was my mom. That's exactly what she did.
Oh yeah.
I mean, sure, I'll be honest. So she told me about it later on, but she was my dad is black, my mom was white.
Okay.
And then she remarried a white guy, but she told me what it was like for her in university, and she was just going through every dark Latino and every black man she can get her hands on.
Yeah, and it's and some women and what it used to be is they like, I got to get out. They get out of their system, and it's an opportunity to do so. And then when they move on from it, they move on. You know, not necessarily saying that every woman a white man is married to is like, that's not necessarily what it is. But that's not what I'm saying. That's not probably what it is. But a woman like her that's like built like that, she's got to expand her pool. And so I'm not saying she don't date white dudes, but we know what it is, and it is. it is. And the truth is, it ain't necessarily white dudes even like the best white dudes even checking for her necessarily.
Yeah.
Hell, shit, even Tommy Lauren dated a black conservative dude. And
Yeah,
she's
but let's go
considered
back.
white. Go ahead.
Let's go back to that what you're talking about status before with the white guys. This is what the white girls are doing. They're looking for the status. So like the social class. So they do their experimentation and then they go back to what is their normal class. You know, they have to maintain themselves. And that's why the white guy comes back in.
Yeah, because there's a tangible value to that. See,
Right.
there's a value, and they know and they're aware of losing that value. They are very much
Right.
aware of losing that value. See, so it's not even with white Latinas. It's not necessarily the same thing. You know, they have something they're trying to maintain, but women get it. So, and this is again why a lot of black dudes, you know, because it was a video one time where this black dude and this white chick, and this black dude actually said and this is like a basketball looking kind of brother, and he actually told her that she gets status from him. And she was trying to be nice about it, but she ended up really telling him because they was in like a car in the taxi. He said, "No, I don't." And she said, "Do you actually think that I get status from other white men who actually have the power, where the status matters, not white women, but white men, by dating you?" And then he acted like he really didn't understand that, and it like hit him like a ton of bricks. And I'm like, nigga, how could you not know that in this society? And it's like, wow, you really think just because she's lucky? And I'm not saying she's ashamed or anything like that, but you got to understand it is for what it is. This is what actually having economics and having power is. See, you think because motherfuckers want to fuck you, that means you just that nigga to everybody. That's not how that works. Not necessarily.
No.
Sexual access matters. And this is what dudes tend to not understand. This is why dudes care so much about, I don't want to pay. That shit don't really mean shit to the people that don't mean shit to. It really don't.
Right. Yeah.
The dude, like,
yeah,
you
exactly.
think think them Arabs in Dubai give a fuck about that? Like,
No.
you know, you think even black people that's got power like that. You think Kevin kept trying to say, yo, that shit don't matter. It really don't, because these women got some because it ain't about the direct pay transaction. A lot of these women are afraid to get kicked out of the social circles. Like, because in these social circles, if the right dude shuts them down, the other dudes are not gonna be fucking with them like that. Because if you are still fucking with them like that, you're gonna pay a social price. Because it's gonna be, you have too many bitches to be dealing with to be going out of your way to fuck this. Are you really willing to get kicked out of the quote unquote social structure for this one bitch? And most dudes are not. Now, it's different this is why Kevin Samuels separates the entertainment bullshit, because it's kind of a different thing there. Number one, they got their own money, but number two, they're passing around known chicks. So this is what the business community is not necessarily as bad about passing bitches around like that. They're not. It's not the same. I'm not saying they don't do it, but it's not the same. Not in that way where the woman can just be like a bee seeding nigga after nigga after nigga. It's not like that. Because they're much more cognizant of what they can lose versus you're dealing with people that got fast money a fast way, and they're not thinking. They're thinking from it. Yeah. So yeah, absolutely. So let's see.
Something about that, about being a gentleman, being taught to be gentleman before being alpha. We kind of went over that.
No. Oh my god!
But it kind of goes in hand with what you were talking about. You got to be.
That's bullshit. That's what every bitch says, which is why Anna was smiling with that bullshit.
Respectful to women, man. These guys aren't teaching you how to be respectful to women.
And that's another thing too. What you got to understand is, again, Myron has a status, and she saw what he looked like. So he had a lot of pre-qualification things. Allende is an imposing dude to a woman. You know, he's an imposing dude. So of course that's good. So that shit does not work absence of the pre-qualification. See, Duke, shut up, man. And I'm not even hating on a brother, but dude, shut up. That's some bullshit you'll tell somebody and send them to get hit by a bus on that stupid shit. No. That shit works if you already have the foundational stuff in place. And you don't even really want to lead with your money like that, because if you lead with your money, that makes you a target. Because versus status and stuff, it's a little bit offhand. So,
I mean, if you're gonna go out there following Myron's game, you're gonna be throwing bricks, bro. It's not gonna work.
And that's the thing. He throws bricks, and See, the same way that she's contrary to his fucking narrative is the same way he's contrary to his own narrative.
Not really. No, she's not.
Not really.
Like
No.
she's just like if Myron
No.
is not lying and she fuck all them other dudes, then no, she's just smarter about it. That's all. You got women that are just dumb. They're just out there with their bullshit versus she's more normal. She's more on the acculturated prostitution shit, which is you got to take me out and do this and do that, but don't act like she ain't fucking on the first date. That so versus these women, so don't nah.
According to him, if you're over 6 foot and you make over $100 grand a year, and women are just gonna roll into your bed. Really, do because they ain't doing that for you, and you 6'2". You make well over $100 grand a year. You well over fucking 6 foot. But girls can't stand you. They can't stand your presence. They don't like your fucking face. You see what I'm saying? And so many women have told me that it's not even that Myron is physically unattractive. So many women have literally said to me, if he didn't say what he said, I would have hooked up with him.
Damn.
They said it to me.
Did I not say this?
Women.
I don't know this dude. Did I not say this? What it is, the problem, Myron's biggest issue, and this is something that honestly people that have less than him can learn from, is what you said. It's that discreet thing. You have to know the difference between maintaining a like this. You strike me as a dude. It's like at the end of the day, you could do what you want to do, but I know what I'm going to do. Because I'm going to do what's in my best interest. That's actually a presence where, like, look, we can talk, but at the end of the day, if the math don't make sense for me in my head, and I'm not necessarily going to broadcast if it does or doesn't, because see, what the assholes will do is say, okay, this bitch is a hoe. But I want to fuck. I'm go play along because she's on the path to fucking. I'm go fuck and I'm gonna be done with it. That's what the assholes do. But at the end of the day, outside of that, I'm not gonna keep on fucking because if I get into a Miss Cheek situation or something like that, I don't want to be in that situation. So I'm not gonna keep playing Russian roulette until eventually I get shot. Which is why dudes do pump and dump, by the way. Because you keep pumping the same bitch, then eventually she's gonna learn you. She's gonna learn you, and she's gonna learn how she's gonna learn you. She's gonna adjust to you. Which is how the Brittany Renner situation happened. Anyway.
One chick, there was one chick on the podcast, came on the podcast, he tried to hit it, she wasn't with it. He was pissed, right? He was resentful about it. So you told me bring her back on. I'm thinking. Cool.
And another thing this is a theme I'm seeing here, that he blows shit up. Like you gotta play. Sometimes, look, ain't nobody saying to be in a fucking friend zone, because that's not what this situation is. But you gotta play like the medium game. Every bitch ain't gonna fuck you like right there. They gonna lay your ass down, not necessarily right there. But some of these women, it's like sales. Everybody's not gonna buy on the first, second, or even like the 5 times they say the majority of people buy. But you keep them on your email list. You keep them see how you live and seeing what you're doing. And then as they get more comfortable with you and your personality, even if they're not in your presence in person, because they got to show, they got shit to do that for them. Some of those women might come back on the second, third round. Not necessarily saying that you bring them on and lose resources doing it, like as in Watch Time, as in other women it could be doing. Myron tends to blow shit up faster, but see, he's already said that because he's got like a higher personality. Yeah, I don't think if Fresh gets any kind of women, he say Fresh. See, this is where again that being laid back shit works better. So it just depends. But that other shit's got to be there first. But again, I didn't see this video. I saw the first like 10 minutes and that's it. So anyway,
she was just on. I can bring on somebody else. He's like, nah, bring her back on. I said, I'll bring her back on when I bring her back on, nigga. There's a rotation.
Yeah, I mean, and so it's kind of like, so that kind of speaks for itself to a certain extent, because that's another thing about tricking too. You get the problem is too many dudes, like they'll make that like their made mode of transaction, which some situations maybe you should, but most of these guys, especially when they go overseas, talk about I'm doing a sex tourism thing. That may be a way to go out there the first time, but that's not. You shouldn't. If you get established at a place any kind of way, you shouldn't be doing that. And a lot of these dudes can kind of fall. Shout out to Blackfoot for the $5 super sticker. You can fall into that's all you want to do, and that's where that dusty tricking bullshit comes in, like in the DR and shit. So anyway, they said what they said. She's cheesing, everybody's smiling, whatever. So anyway, what are your overall thoughts? Do you think this was fair or?
No, I thought
About me.
I thought it was
me, not my assessment.
no. I think your assessment is very good. I think you're talking pretty accurately about the situation, and particularly about her, and that she is still interested in Myron, no matter what she says or says to the contrary. Myron is still living rent free in her head, and you did. If she weren't attracted to him, she wouldn't be talking to him about this. She'd just be like, oh well, this isn't a situation that's good. Bye.
Well,
That's
at this point, I'll say, but at this point, yeah, I think Anna need implants. Yeah. So Myron said Myron was raised Muslim. I don't know what he was raised, but that would make sense. He was raised Muslim and used to women in his culture abiding by men. But he's in Miami. That that could be part of it. That could be that, which is kind of why I let it. That could be a big part of it. But I mean, obviously, people even the senseis learn. So I mean, that's a clear adjustment. It's not about losing frame. It's about you got to play a medium game sometimes. Sometimes it takes more than one. Ain't nobody talking about taking her out on a date or all this other bullshit. If they come to your show, you making money. So it's still on autopilot. But yeah, and that I will give to Allende. But and like he said, so many women. I'm telling you, and that's another thing too. Fresh needs, and this is another thing he needs to stop doing. Fresh needs to get in on the grilling a little bit too, because now Myron is like the bad cop versus he would come off of that a little bit if they both did it, So these are little things that they could do, but still maintain what they're doing. I'm not trying to tell, but whatever. It is what it is. What do I know? They're doing what they're doing.
So I think that Fresh will he will have a different approach on the show later on. He's going to go through a phase. I mean, he's just starting. So he will be improving. Myron is going, I know where I can see where he's going in life. And he's just he has a little hiccup. He will execute by far better in the next 5 years. And this is where we're going to really see Myron blossom. And I think that he's going to be something. He's going to go off because he has the foundation for doing it. Fresh is going to,
go ahead. No, finish saying.
No, Fresh is going to do something as well. He needs to take care of some fundamentals, and he will be on his path. But by the time he's 31, he's going to be out of control. So let's just see what happens.
Yeah, they were talking about he had Michael Blackson on there. Yeah, I kind of clicked into that. Yeah, motherfuckers don't be fucking with Michael Blackson like that because that wasn't one of their most highest shows. And that, I mean, at that point, I put that on the guest. But I mean, for real. I mean, if you get a dip and you usually maintain this, and your shit is based on guests, well, the bitches were still there. So what's the variable? I mean, shit. But yeah. I will. Because even their adjusted numbers, they like with Blackston, it was like 4,000, and their adjusted numbers have been like 7 to 9. So clearly, that's the common denominator. And motherfuckers, whatever. But shout out to Blackston because he be fucking these bitches too.
No, they keep on having the numbers. Their Patreon isn't going down at all. In fact, it's increasing. They're getting more people who are interested in and staying longer on the channel, and so this is just a start for them. They'll probably branch off into different areas in the future. But as in terms of their approach, there's one thing I said about Injustice X. Like, I didn't make mistakes between 28 and 31. And if I can't say, like, I could never judge them or say anything bad because I was like, if I throw the stone, I'm going to hit myself first. And that's the way it is.
Well, what I will say, and we'll see, because at the end of the day, there's an economic thing there, and people will just ignore that. But that bullshit that bullshit about, like, when they help people and they just turn on motherfuckers, and that sounds like a Myron thing. That shit, if they don't correct that stuff like that can like really build up against them. And look, I'm not hoping for shit. My biggest thing was I did not want. It looks like this issue is dying down. I did not want people to try to use them to attack everybody as far as Red Pill and it's including them. That was my biggest issue. As far as I'm concerned, I don't give a fuck about what they do. And if people go on their show, watch their show, that's what they're doing on their own fruition. Working for them, like, because I've been in situations like what Allende was in, where you're helping somebody out, but you're not getting what you get in return, and it's like you don't want to, you kind of hold it in, and it's like, and it's Yeah, I've been in that, so I understand those situations. But it is what it is. Like I hope Allende, because I think Allende, even being the other side of it, I think he could do something with what he's trying to do. But I think a lot of his stuff is like dated too. He's talking about stuff like pre 2010. We've learned so much since then, and this is not a conversation that needs to be had. These women do know what they're doing. Stop acting like they don't. You're talking about women that are 30. You got bitches that are 40 talking about they didn't know. I don't want to hear that. That's like me saying I didn't know you can't bounce a bitch's head against the wall when she disrespects you. I don't get to say I didn't know. That's not how you're going to approach that. And so y'all fucking these dudes that are, some of them are criminals and fuck what they did in the past. I mean, they're doing this shit now. It's just like, I just got done watching, I'm going to say this and I'll let you have the last word. I just got done watching Cocaine Cowboys and I thought it was going to be a remake. No, it was a season and they did it. There's nobody that you saw in the original, like 2 or 3 documentaries. The 2 documentaries you saw, Cocaine Cowboys in Miami, Grizel Blanco, all them, Pablo Escobar, none of them were in there. This is about a guy by the name of Sal and Willie, 2 guys, Sal and Willie, and how they were at the top 2 of bringing in cocaine into Miami. And this covers them all the way from the 80s all the way to like 99. So even the trials, how hard it was to get them. And my point of saying that is, like, a lot of the women or people that were involved, they all knew. Like the women, they knew like what they were doing. They knew. People know. And we got to stop playing like women don't know. Even if you deal with foreign women and they're cultured a certain way, they're making these calculations too. They may like you and the likeness is genuine. I think people oversell that it's not, because people use you overseas, people use you here too. So, but we got to stop acting like women. These bitches know. These bitches are making an educated decision. So don't let them tell you they don't know. That's my main thing.
Yeah, I'll make that's a great comment. That's actually great. So let me comment on that. So I would say the Western woman, particularly the ABW, actually very much knows exactly what she's doing. She's planned it out. And she has other women who are facilitating her, for helping her, and giving her instructions. And she has plenty of media helping her on her path. So she knows what's going on. She knows what she's doing. Now, when it comes to marriage and dating, the foreign chick has her incentives and motivations, and so does the domestic. It's just that the difference is that the goal tends to be different. So, like when I'm going abroad and I'm dating women abroad, I mean, I'm aware sometimes that they're in one way or another using me, but their goal is to have a child and to be in a marriage with me. It's just that, the way I want to be loved may not be exactly the way I want it. Whereas, if we're talking about a Western woman, there isn't love. It's just pure usage. That's it. And a child isn't really my child. It's just an instrument to extract resources towards her and validate her victimization.
Yeah, so because other women that think that way, violence. You put yourself in a potentially violent situation from a societal situation operating that way in some countries. In America, that shit is not only not the case, that's actively told. The women that don't operate like that are actually shamed.
Right, exactly. They go after the pick-me's.
And by the way, Theo, I said that when a woman is being called a pick-me, she's being called a nigger lover. When a black woman is being called a pick-me by another black female, that is equivalent to a white man calling a white woman a nigger lover. And if you listen to how these women say it and when they say it, and just think about that and watch, that make so much more sense.
It's unfortunate. I'm going to go through there. I'll do that. I think you're probably correct on that one as well. So
they say it with hatred. They say it with anger. How could you like this motherfucker? How could you genuinely like this motherfucker?
Yeah. Exactly. Like, well, don't you want to get married? That's how marriage works. That's
like you're talking about a white woman. How could you like this?
Right. Yeah. How could you like this Japanese girl? Like, I'm like, well, she actually loves. She glows in the dark, but she loves me. She loves me more than you do. So, yeah, you had a great podcast. I know you're coming to the end. This is great. I had a great time talking to you. And I think you had a very fair assessment of Fresh and Fit. I think you did a good job.
No, absolutely.
And, yeah. And knocking out Anna and knocking out these other two simps was pretty good. I enjoyed it.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate what you've done in the Black Manosphere as well as, you know, the White Manosphere as well. But obviously, I'm in the Black Manosphere, and you know, there are
Black
some things.
Manosphere.
Yeah, there are some things we need to do as far as, you know, stepping our stuff up, because there's a bigger part of YouTube, even within our space, that a lot of people don't pay attention to. So I definitely would like for you to make your presence known a little bit more, because a lot of these guys don't know who you are, what you need, and there needs to be said. MGTOW, a lot of dudes, you know how it is with these motherfuckers here. They hear MGTOW and they hear gay shit automatic. Like, that's why we don't talk about the shit no more, because motherfuckers said fuck it. The dudes that were really like on that was like, look, I'll just deal with the white guys. Sometimes they'll talk about the BBC, but they ain't talk about that enough to where I give a fuck. And to that extent, and because this gay shit, y'all talk about, oh, that shit gay and da da da, but whatever. So it's always room for improvement for anybody. So yeah, I can't believe and I'm gonna start doing live streams, because the thing about it is, my thing is, like, I got better shit to do than be on some shit 3-4 hours all the time. I'm start doing uploads. O'Shea is right, but make sure y'all hit
that's
me.
All I'm gonna do.
Yeah, make sure y'all hit me with that Cash App to support, and definitely if Theo's got a channel, you know, if you I know you said you didn't, but when you get one, I will definitely send my people to you. And other than that, there's another episode of Everybody Hates Black Men.
December. I'm starting in December.
Okay, so yeah, just let me know, and like I said, I'll share it, whatever. You know, you can go through the chitlin circuit, man. You know, Bernard, me, trust me, we got like about 10 channels where, like, real talk, you just go through them and shit. You know, the right person will definitely hook you up. So anyway, y'all. With that being said, this is Edward signing out. Peace.
See you guys.
Peace out. All right, y'all. Yeah, y'all better hit me with that Cash App, man. I'm giving y'all these 4-hour things. You know, I only got one Cash App. You know, I'm gonna do this anyway because I believe in putting the shit out there. Y'all also can hit me with super stickers in the videos once they go live. So if y'all support the show, support it. JR, what I'll say about the teaching others thing, the thing about it is, I'm not here to say what you know. At the end of the day, what matters is our people. Remember what I have told you all. I have told you all, it doesn't matter what somebody wants. It matters if you can get it. At the end of the day, they can get it. And at the end of the day, you know, the people are much welcome to critique Fresh and Fit. They have done it. They have been doing it. If you don't know that, people critique Fresh and Fit even before this debacle, and people still buy. So at the end of the day, from a sales and marketing standpoint, I mean, I'm not gonna hate on that. As long as we don't blow the fuck up because of the dumb shit they're doing, again, I could care less about what they do. I really can, and I meant that when I said it. Yes, they are critiquing him on YouTube. If you go look at type in Anthony Spade Fresh and Fit, type in One Master Teacher Fresh and Fit, those are videos that were like 6 months ago, 5 months ago, before they had like 150,000 subscribers. So yeah, they are being critiqued. They may be exceptional repeating red pill stuff, but it doesn't matter. They found a buyer for the content. So I mean, it is what it is. JR, I'm not saying you're wrong, but what I'm saying is, I'm looking at it from a different ARs. Exactly. So it's not like the information isn't out there. But people, it's just like when people super chat me. I'm not selling a product. People are buying me. Same thing with Jap or anybody else. It's just they have products to amplify. They can amplify their shit. So yeah, it is what it is. But anyway, with that being said, this is Edward signing off. Peace.